bust. The operation was carried out by the Customs Marine Patrol vessel, should be said, in Durban yesterday. SARS says the operation was a collaborative, intelligence-driven one. Jabuli Lembata reports.
The ship carrying the massive haul of drugs was intercepted at Fairway Buoy on Durban's east coast. It was still en route when customs enforcement officials boarded the vessel to search for the suspected containers. During their search, they found 25 bricks of suspected cocaine hidden inside refrigeration units. And after a field drug test positively identified the substances as cocaine, the police were called. SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter commended the officers for disrupting the infiltration of drugs into the country and for protecting society from it. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
Members of the Western Cape Legislature have blamed the national government for the ongoing shootings and gang violence in the province. Statistics were presented in the legislature yesterday showing that more than 30 people were murdered in the province last month. The ANC says the DA's failure to develop communities is partially to blame for the violence. Carlo Peterson reports.
DA Western Cape Chief Whip Gillian Bosman slammed the SAPS and the Parental board for their failure to protect citizens.
The one cannot prevent crime without sufficient officers and sufficient resources. The other cannot claim to protect society when it releases high-risk offenders into communities already so under siege.
ANC MPL Benson Kwensu admitted the lack of police intelligence in the province is also to blame.
The destabilization of police intelligence on the one hand and the DA's failure to confront the chronic crisis of underdevelopment on the other are directly responsible for the surge in violent crime in this province.
The ANC has called on the National Commissioner of Police to urgently appoint a permanent head of police intelligence in the province. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And investigators in Portugal's capital, Lisbon, are continuing to sift through the wreckage of a cable car where 16 people died and more than 20 others injured. The popular tourist attraction derailed from the railway and crashed into a building on Wednesday. 8 victims have been identified so far, including 5 Portuguese individuals, 2 South Korean nationals and a Swiss person. Police say there's a high possibility, based on recovered documents and other evidence, that the victims also include 2 Canadians, 1 American, 1 German and 1 Ukrainian. Gold is trading at $3,546.79 an ounce. The rand is at 17.73 to the dollar, 23.84 to the pound, 20.69 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.70 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West. That's between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N1 North between Winnie Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Parliament's Cooperative Governance Committee says it will process a bill to prescribe how coalition governments should operate.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
The excitement around the US Powerball just keeps growing with yet another rollover. The Sunday's jackpot has climbed to a staggering 30 billion rand. Your winning moment could be just around the corner. Head to lottoland.co.za and choose your lucky 6 numbers, or let the quick pick option do the work for you. You never know. This could be your time to win big. Go to lottoland.co.za and place your fixed odds bets now.
No person under the age of 18 years permitted to gamble. Lottoland South Africa is licensed by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. National Responsible Gambling Program toll-free council line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
On a Friday, 6 minutes after 9. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to it. I'm Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. Great having you with us on this start of a great weekend. I'm thrilled to be with you today because there's quite a lot to discuss, and I know that you never hold back. Whether you're challenging me or challenging the fellow 702 lenders, you bring it on, and you bring it on big. I expect you to do the same today. We've got quite a lot to discuss, but the team is here. And on my side of the studio, Abel presses the buttons, is a technical producer and does complicated stuff to make sure that you and I are well connected and we can hear each other very well. On the side, the other side of the window, you have Sinazo together with Zintle. They are the bosses of the show. They put content together. They literally run this entire train. And of course, you, without you, we can't do anything at all. I always mean it, and it comes from the depths of my heart when I say you could be anywhere else, but you choose us, and we don't take that lightly at all. It's a business that we take seriously to keep you here with us. So thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to us. We may disagree, and we should disagree as life presents itself. That doesn't mean that we're enemies or we hate each other. Please, always see it in that way. Our views will never ever be the same, but it doesn't mean that we want to chop each other's heads off. That's not the idea. We are just persuading each other, using the information at our disposal, and trying to get to a place that we all want to go to, I suppose, as 702 lenders. And that place is a South Africa that is productive, that is harmonious, that is economically sound, and that is relatively peaceful. And I would think we don't disagree as far as that is concerned, right? It's just the different routes to get there that may somehow turn us into opponents every now and then, but definitely not enemies. The number to dial hasn't changed. How you can get hold of us is still the same way. If you'd like to send a voice note or text message, you are most welcome to do so on 072 702 1702. You can send your voice notes to that number or your text messages to that number. Alternatively, speak to us directly. I always prefer that. Biasedly, so I always prefer engaging you in real time. There's something to be said about that connection between you and I. You disagree with me, I disagree with you. We have some few exchanges. Some people are heated wherever they're listening from, and they also want to call in. It makes it a very worthwhile conversation and discussion. So feel free to do that on 011-883-0702. An open line from 9 to 10 o'clock. On the open line, we raise any other issue that you would want to put on the table. Please do not confine yourself only to things that we have seen in the media, that the newspapers have written about, that the social media has reflected on, the excerpts on TV news or clips on radio. They don't necessarily have to be residing in that space as yet for you to bring them up. It could be things that have been troubling you or have somehow bedazzled you, sparked your interest, and you feel that the rest of the world should engage with that issue. And this is a platform to raise it. You set the agenda on the open line. You decide. I only propose one or two things, but generally you can deviate from the script and mention anything else that you feel the rest of us should know about. Speaking about proposing a few things for the open line, there is a proposal from President Trump, he of the U.S., that you know very well. He's proposing that the Department of Defense should change its name. The U.S. Department of Defense should change its name, and it should rather be known or called as the Department of War. Yep, he wants to call it the Department of War. And he says it's for the department to gain the warrior ethos and feel as though that those who are serving in that particular space are warriors because of what is happening currently in the world. You could agree or disagree with them, but the question that I'd like to bring forth to you, especially here in Mzansi, I would want to find out from you, is there a department that you think must change its name, or any department, ministry that should be replaced with something else? Let me make an example. I think there should be something like the Department of Future, in a sense that that department focuses itself on anything else that is visionary. It could be that it integrates all departments regarding rejuvenation, digitization, technology, but anything that has got to do with the future, not only confined to digitization, by the way, because that's not the only thing that will be happening in the future. There'll be much more than just digitization, right? And AI. There are other aspects of the future that we need to think about, because I think at times we are caught napping and other countries are setting the agenda for us. And so the Department of the Future would rather look far into the future and somehow determine the pace and hopefully drag all of us there. But the question that I have for you, which department does South Africa need? Which department does South Africa need? And that could benefit the country. And that must be pointed and significant, just as much as President Trump is saying that the Department of Defense in the US must change its name and it must be known as the Department of War. Of course, processes will be undertaken and via Congress and everything else. So I wanted to find out from you if there's any department that you think South Africa needs, and that if given a chance, you would propose that we have that, right? But more interestingly, I don't know if you saw, it was a very interesting story about scams in the Citizen newspaper today. And they were asking, why is it that banks will not pay for those scams? Are you a victim, or have you been a victim of a bank scam wherein you lost a lot of money, and it was said that you authorized the transfer of money or the payments that you did not even authorize, or you could have done that tacitly, or somehow you were not even aware that you were doing it. And herein the bank says to you, sorry, we are not going to pay you. You were also involved, whether it was overtly or otherwise, we are not going to pay you. And the inner opperman of the Citizen pens a very interesting piece about that. And she says that Sabric recently released its annual crime statistics for 2024, showing that digital banking fraud remained the most dominant channel for AI fraud, accounting for 65.3% of reported incidents, while the volume of cases almost doubled, increasing from 31,612 in 2023 to 64,000 in 2024. But here's a big one. The losses, financial losses, they increased from 1 billion to 1.4 billion in the very same period. It shows that this sort of crime is on the rise. Well, they also mentioned that the South African Banking Risk Information Center warns that AI-driven scams, deepfakes, and social engineering are rapidly emerging as the biggest threats in the country's banking sector. So I wanted to find out from you, how much did you lose in a bank scam? Maybe you are circumspect of sharing the numbers with me, that's fine, but have you ever been a victim of a bank scam? And did the bank pay you back? How easy was that process if they did? What was your communication with the bank? And did they eventually give you your money, and were you satisfied with how things went? But also share about the scams. Maybe you could be enlightening other people. You could be assisting other people to avoid those scams by simply giving us a call on 011-883-0702. So on the open line, I'd like us to touch on that. And a little bit later on Across the Desk, we will be featuring lifestyle journalists. I will speak to Gaunda Dachana, who's the deputy lifestyle editor at News 24, and Mbali Mbata, arts and culture entertainment writer at City Press. Lifestyle journalists are very interesting. Whilst they may not touch on hardcore political stuff right here, right now, they open our eyes to a number of things. Actually, there are people who simply subscribe to news sites, buy newspapers, those of us who still do, simply to read about lifestyle stuff. There are so many, and I always find the views very interesting. So we'll chat to a lifestyle journalist between 10 and 11 o'clock. And then on our relationship focus, of course, it's a Friday, so we will have the relationship focus, right? So on the relationship focus, we're talking about mommy's boy or daddy's little girl. And you're in a relationship, but you're still mommy's little boy. Mommy tells you what to do, and your girlfriend or your boyfriend only plays second fiddle to the relationship because you are mommy's little boy. Shame. And you love your mommy. Bomma said. So I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I'm making fun of you. I know. I'm just kidding, right? But on a serious note, there are many relationships that are having cracks because of mommy's boys and daddy's little girls, wherein parents play a significant role in a relationship, directing it. Projection is taking place. I want to find out from you if you've dated someone of that sort and how did things go. But that's all coming up on our relationship focus between 11 and 12. Abel, it's 17 minutes after 9.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
And it has officially begun. 011-883-0702. It's your turn right now, right here. Chris, welcome. You're calling us from Joburg.
Good morning, Tobe. Yeah. What can I tell you?
Shock me, surprise me.
How much time have I got?
well, make use of whatever is there. You're kicking off, so I'll be a little bit generous.
Am I what?
I'm saying I'll be a little bit generous. You are the
Generous,
first.
okay.
Yeah, you are the first in the queue.
Okay.
So kick us off,
Yeah.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Tobe, money stolen from my account by another customer of the same bank. That money was then used to buy cryptocurrency, Binance.
Wow.
And this all happened before lunch on the 2nd of January 2023, which was a public holiday.
Mm.
The messages to the mobile operator didn't reach me because there'd been a SIM swap scam as well.
Oh my goodness.
But the messages, the bank messages were, the transfer is being requested for the 3rd of January, which was a working day for the bank. However, the bank allowed the money to move out of my accounts into another bank account, as I said, before lunch on a public holiday. And as you've indicated in your commentary, the bank, middle finger.
Oh no.
And quite honestly, the ombudsman is completely unhelpful in instances like this.
Well, Chris, any money is big money because the economy is tight. But were the quantums very high?
Well, 350,000.
Goodness me. Was it at one go? Was it just one transfer or was it staggered?
I had 3 accounts with the bank, and they collectively, the movement of funds from those 3 accounts collectively added up 350.
Goodness me. All in one day?
All in one day, all on a public holiday, and all before lunch.
Oh my goodness me. So, I mean, I would assume immediately, as soon as you knew, you then contacted your bank. When did you know about this, given that there was a SIM swap done to your phone?
On that Monday, I I looked at my bank account to see if I'd paid Vodacom, because I couldn't use my Vodacom for non-WhatsApp calls.
Yes.
And I noticed that this movement had gone out of my bank account, and I phoned the fraudulent department of the bank that night, Monday night, the 2nd of January, 2023.
Yeah. And immediately, did you feel after calling that there was urgency to your call to resolving your issue? Did they have to call you into a branch, or was everything done telephonically?
There was very little urgency. I would say it was a couple of weeks before they sent the fraudulent man to come and see me. Then they took my laptop away. They reckon that this whole thing had started with a phishing email, and there's a bit of information about phishing emails that might be of interest to listeners. You know, a phishing email is one that looks for information, asks for information. If you don't give the information to the sender of the phishing email, he can't do anything. And the bank tried to protect itself by saying it was information sent to the sender of the phishing email, which was completely incorrect.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been a tragedy in my life, and I get absolutely nowhere. And Thabo, I've written to SARS, I've written to the FIC, I've written to the FSCA. Yes, FSCA, thank you. Yeah. And I've recently had a communication with a guy called Ismail Monyamiat, who is now representative on the FATF.
He's a former DG of Treasury. Yeah.
Yes, and you know, you get nowhere.
Oh man. Listen, I'm terribly sorry about that, Chris, and I'm just wondering if you did try to get hold of our consumer ninja, Wendy Nola. She'll know a thing or two about those things, and she'll have some sobriety as far as counsel is concerned on that one. I don't know if you've tried to call her. She's often on Relebogile's show between 1 and 3. Please give her a try. And Chris, please, man, receive our sympathies. I'm terribly sorry about your loss. Really appreciate you kicking off the show. All the best. Let us know how it goes. Snega, you are calling from Kagiso. Good morning.
Hi, how are you, Tao?
I'm free, Snega. How are you?
Good. Okay, I'm not free.
Yeah, someday we'll all be free.
Yeah, I would suggest that we have got accountability type of a department, if we could. I know there's monitoring and evaluation.
Oh, okay.
That only exists go the national department. But when you come down here, you've got councillors who are not held to account. We're supposed to do it as the people who voted for them, of course. But now we can only go to a certain extent. They are not held to account by a certain system. I'll tell you why. This morning, we got a message from the councillor complaining about how I took initiative to clean the park, made a deal with SA breweries to give us the bin so that people who are littering on the street cannot do that anymore. The municipality is collecting money from people who are messing up our streets. We took initiative. We even wrote the letters to the municipality, petitioned them to say the place is dirty. You are collecting money from even illegal foreign nationals who are trading here. The municipality never responded. So there's an initiative that is being launched today to put the bins around the area. The councillor went on like 1 a.m. in the morning, sent a message to the ward committee saying he's not even going to call a meeting so that the ward committee members who are relying on the stipend from the municipality cannot get their money, because he's angry that we took the initiative. It is not for the first time this happened. It's been like for years. Nobody holds the councillor to account. It is just normal for him to say, I'm going to punish you, and there's nothing you can do about it. People who are relying on their money are not going to get it, only because we took the initiative to fix what needs to be fixed. So I feel as if maybe we need some sort of accountability department that can go
Yeah.
to an individual and say,
Yeah.
you as the mayor, the MMC, the councillor, come and account
Yeah.
on this particular day. We'll sit there and ask you questions about how you are conducting yourself.
Yeah. So, Snegga, let's try to distill a couple of things that you've raised. One, you were just saying that we need a Department of Accountability in South Africa. Responding to my initial question on the open line as to which department does South Africa need, right? But you're also cascading it down to where you are, saying that some councillors, especially yours, does not account to anyone. He does as he pleases. He or she does as he pleases. And the councillor couldn't be bothered about processes, punishing ward committee members by not calling meetings because in that way they wouldn't receive a stipend, and no one says anything. Surely you have a mayor that side, Snegga, in Kagiso, right? It's Mogale City. Yeah, you have a mayor in Mogale City. When you take these concerns to the mayor, what does he say? I think it's Mayor Lakine. What does he say when you take these concerns, and also to the Speaker of Council, because the Speaker of Council does have accountability measures or authority over the councillors. What happens when you take these things forward?
We've done this for the entire term. This administration, taking matters to the Speaker, to the Mayor. You remember that the Mayor was at some point the Speaker of the Council.
Yes.
There are letters even going as far as to the Presidency's office to say, we've got this problem. It cannot even be solved within the municipality. Like you are saying, if the councillor contravenes, the very next day, the chief whip or the Speaker must say, Councillor, come and account to us. What is this that you are saying? It does not happen, but I'll tell you why, Tab. Because it's politics. It's a political party that has got councillors. If you're going to punish this councillor, let's say maybe they dismiss the councillor.
Yeah.
It means you must go for a
by-election.
By-elections.
Yeah,
Chances
because the
are
seat
if you go for
becomes vacant.
by-elections,
Yeah.
you will not get your vote.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they'll have to protect the system so that the councillor can remain.
But what does the community say about their leader who takes offense to communities taking initiative to clean up, to be proactive? There are many wards that would love communities like that. I mean, what do the voters say? The voters who put this councillor into office, what do they say when all of these things happen? That they've got a councillor who is anti-productivity. Based on what you have given me, right? I haven't heard of what the councillor may be saying, but based on what you have said, what does the community say?
Yeah, my community, I will talk about my Reservoir Ridge community, my blog. They're very frustrated. They are trying their best to even say, we'll petition the municipality to come and talk to us about what is happening. The municipality stays away from those things. The community is frustrated. They are doing their best. But so that we are not long term, I'm saying at some point, we will need really to work on making the community active. This is active citizenry. We must go back and say to the community, in between you and the ballot box, there's life. You only see the community being alive when they're going to stay on that queue to vote. From there, the community stays away. So at some point, I think we must really go down and teach the community to say, you must be active in between the elections.
Yeah. Well, Snegga, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. And I know you've called on various occasions about your local councillor, your ward councillor. And I would love to hear from you. What's his name, Snegga?
It's Velile Khumalo.
Who Khumalo?
Velile.
Well, thank you so much. Councillor Velile Khumalo, please get in touch. Do share with us. I would love to hear from you, your side of the story. This has come up so many times. I would love to hear from you. You are accounting to the public. You're voted into that position. I would love to hear from you. And we are mentioning your name because you are not a private entity. It's for public concern. Feel free to get in touch with us. I'd love to hear what you have to say, especially if it's before 10 o'clock. That would be great. Exactly 9:30. Sfiso Zulu is back and he'll give us the very latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning, Sfiso. Welcome.
Thanks, Tabo. Good morning. As a legal battle looms between the sacked SA Tourism Board and Minister Patricia de Lille, former members say she got her facts wrong when she decided to fire them. Last month, de Lille announced the decision to dissolve the board for allegedly convening an unlawful meeting. But board members have denied this and they're now taking their bid to challenge their dismissal to court. Cape Town police have launched a manhunt for people linked to the murder of a taxi owner in Lwandle. The 42-year-old man affiliated to Taxi Association Qatar was shot by unknown gunmen while driving his car yesterday. This attack comes 2 weeks after 5 people were shot and killed at different taxi ranks in the metro. And Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that any Western forces deployed to Ukraine will be a legitimate target for Moscow's army. This statement comes a day after Kyiv's allies said that they have committed to a troop presence in the event of a peace deal. 24 countries led by France and Britain pledged to join a reassurance force on land, at sea and in the air to patrol any agreement to end the conflict unleashed by Russia in 2022. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Amo, morning. How do the roads look?
Good morning, Tabo. Well, we've got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 west between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 north approaching the Kilulis turn off while traveling in the city of Tshwane. A bit of a stop and go on the N1 south between Linwood Road and Botha Avenue. This is due to an earlier accident, but on the N14 north, we've got an accident reported. This one is right near Euphis Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout and try to avoid. More updates coming up.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
8 out of 10 radio listeners suffer from CAR or car advertising on repeat. Symptoms include fatigue, anxiety, and confusion. With so many car ads coming at you on your daily commute, buying or selling a car can feel overwhelming. But there is a cure.
Cars.co.za. Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.co.za and let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
This is the story of our Nando's Flame Grilled Chicken, marinated for 24 hours in our unique peri-peri recipe. Kissed by fire, full of flavor, perfectly grilled. And like any story, this story of our full peri-peri chicken has 2 sides. Yours to choose, yours to share. Enjoy the Nando's full and 2 sharing meal. That's our full chicken and 2 sharing sides of your choice for only 277 Rand.
Why pay full price for your business insurance when you could get a 20% discount? Switch to Outsurance Business and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium for plumbing, electrical, tradesmen, services, and other industries. Outsurance Business are trusted experts in business insurance, and it's so easy to switch. Get a quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's information online.
Spring has sprung at Stodell's Garden Centres. Transform your garden with 50% off on a massive variety of plants and also 50% off a wide selection of pots. Experience the colour, happiness and buzz of spring when you shop at Stodell's Garden Centres. Visit Stodell's at Bryanston, Ferndale or Menlo Park and add a burst of colour to your garden. Stodell's. Create happiness. Offer ends 7 September. T's and C's apply.
Your office is more than just a place to work. It's a reflection of your success. At Desk and Chair, we help you elevate your workspace with locally manufactured desks and a wide range of chairs to suit your style and budget. Our expert consultants are with you every step of the way, from planning to delivery and assembly. Visit our showroom in Midrand or shop online at deskandchair.co.za. Desk and Chair. Think, feel, work better.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
25 minutes to 10 o'clock, you're on 702. By the way, we are on YouTube Live. If you'd like to check us out therein, feel free to do so. Also on my TikTok Live. So we've given you various platforms if you'd like to connect to us. Also via X, formerly known as Twitter. At Radio 702 would be your handle. At I am free TSM would be mine. What is yours? Let us know on 072 702 1702. Here's some voice notes.
Hi, Tabo. I think maybe instead of the Department of Future, maybe we should call it the Department of Innovation, where innovation can take place every now and then. People can be innovative and can be encouraged to come up with some innovative ideas so that we can move forward and be in par with the first world countries. Thank you, Jeff Centurion.
Good morning, Tabo. I don't know why President Trump chooses war instead of peace. He should call it Department of Peace. But I'm not surprised. He likes war. He is not a peacemaker. Thank you very much. Peter Maila Machaba from Lesotho.
Morning 702, morning Tabo. I think when it comes to government cabinet department, I think land reform and agriculture and environment fisheries must be one. Tourism and arts and culture, one. Public works and administration as one. And education, one. And also, Department of Women and Children should be scrapped.
Hi Tabo, just your question with respect to government departments, any new departments and changes. I think step one, we should introduce Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to sort out step number two, all the other departments, rationalize, look for ghost workers, dig into what people are actually busy working on and not working on. Are they doing their job? I can guarantee you that many aren't. I deal with government almost on a daily basis. It's impossible to reach these guys via phone, cell phone, or even at their offices. I think DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, with a very strong mandate, and forget about the politics, do the right thing for a change.
And would Elon Musk become a minister of that department? Let us know. Very interesting. 22 minutes to 10 o'clock. And in case you're wondering what everyone else is speaking about and you've just joined us, we asked earlier on as we kicked off the open line, which is still open till 10, which departments should be merged together? Which departments does South Africa desperately need that are currently not there? And given an opportunity, which department would you introduce to our country? And this is on the backdrop of President Trump of the US seeking to change the name of the Department of U.S. Defense, and he would rather it's called the Department of War. And obviously processes are still underway. It must be rubber stamped by Congress, among others. So those things are still underway. But I'd love to hear from you, given that we are in Mzansi and we have very little influence in the U.S. But in Mzansi, given an opportunity, which department does South Africa so desperately need? I remember when the Department of Small Business was introduced. I was thrilled. I was jumping up and down, and I think it was Minister Zulu who would be the first minister of that. I was excited because I strongly believe in the potential of small businesses, and I don't think we're doing enough to assist small businesses, and they can help us to really rev up the economy if they get the appropriate assistance. But it turned out to be a damn squib for me, at least. But for you, it could have been something different. So that's why we were asking about that. We also asked about bank scams. Have you ever been a victim of a bank scam? And did you get your way? Did you get your money back after all of that? Let us know on 072 702 1702. Sekate, you are in Brits. Thanks for your patience. I'm quiet listening to you. Welcome.
Morning, Bungani and the team, and condolences to our sister. May soul rest in peace.
Amen.
My first comment is the one we are talking about the scams. Like me yesterday, my wife, I got a card, my wife's card, bank card. I went to the shop, to one of the shop, And then later on, I went to the garage. And then I'm sure I bought something like, things was 65 rand. And then he phoned me, he said, did you try to buy something online for 513 rand or 500 and something? I said, no, I didn't. He said, no, my phone shows me that we were trying to buy something online. I said, no, I didn't. That's what I want to say about some of the people to be aware of that. And then the other thing, the second and the last, is this thing of our government, the CCMAs. Maybe you are working, maybe they take you from work, you are no more longer working. And you don't know, you must go and claim within 30 days. They said to you, you must do something called condonation. Even though you make it a condonation, they decline it. I don't know about that, man. How can we do? And then where to go? If maybe they say go to do the condonation, you do the condonation, they say, and then it's declined.
No,
we need to know where to go.
Yeah.
You understand? Maybe you are working, they didn't give you any cent. You are working, they didn't pay you. You are not aware of if they fire you from work. You must go to CCMA within 30 days. When you go there, they tell you what to do. When you do that, it's still one and the same. That's my concern.
Sure. I'll be wary of giving out authoritative advice or tips on that, Sikate, because I don't want to mislead people. We'll dig deeper into it, and perhaps there could be those in the labor space who understand those things far better than us. The last thing I would like to do is use the very little information and dispense it to everyone and putting people in danger. But your concern is very valid. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry, and I wonder about the card. Did you stop the card? Did you report it?
No, my card. My wife phoned me this morning. She said she stopped the card.
Okay.
And then I said to her, now we must go to the bank to get the statement. Thereafter, go to the police and to open a case about it.
Yeah. I think that's a sober thing to do. Sekate, thank you so much. My only objection is that you call me Bongani, and Bongani will argue that he's more handsome than me. So you're going to get into trouble with Bongani for comparing him to me.
This morning I was saying Kabazele. The lady told me, no, it's not Kabazela.
Yeah. No. But thanks. It's all on a light note, of course. 011-883-0702, 17 minutes to 10 o'clock. Who is next? Eunice in Kilani. Hi, welcome.
Hi there, Thabo.
Welcome.
Thabo, I'd like to talk about I'd like to talk about this global flotilla that's attempting to break this illegal siege of Gaza.
Yes.
And it's called the Sumut Flotilla.
Yes.
Now, this is an initiative by about people from 44 countries, and the flotilla is going to be about 50 ships that are attempting to break the siege, where, as you see on television, famine and starvation is rife there. It's used as a weapon of war. It's unbelievable. So amongst those that are going on this flotilla, you've got the ex-mayor of Barcelona, you've got several Italian MPs there, and it's a wide range of people from across the world. Now, of particular importance from a South African perspective, there are 11 South Africans who have joined this flotilla. Amongst them, Mandla Mandela, prominent grandson of Madiba, and of particular importance also are two Jewish South Africans, Jared Sachs and Joe Bloon. Both of them belong to the South African Jews for a Free Palestine. And this is a small grouping, but a vociferous group who've said that not in our name. This will not happen. What's happening in Gaza will not happen in our name. So, it's very important that we follow this flotilla. We follow what's happening there, because if you could recall, several years ago when there was a ship from Turkey, I think it was a Mavi Mavra, and, the IDF soldiers went onto that ship and about 10 or 11 people were killed there. Now, we need to be following this flotilla for what's happened, if hopefully they break the siege, and all they are taking is humanitarian aid for kids and for women and children there, whoever's there in the Gaza trying to break the siege. Because clearly, Thabo, what's happening in the Gaza, we've never ever witnessed something in our lifetime. And when people say never again, but it's happening now in our lifetime. We're seeing it. So our thoughts and prayers should be with this, with all the people from across the world on this flotilla. And I think it's a very noble gesture on their part. And as far as South Africans go, I say, well done to all of them. Our prayers and thoughts are with you. Hopefully you break that siege and hopefully you go there and come back alive. And, that's all I have to say.
No, thanks for that, Eunice. I did see that that Mandla Mandela together with his wife, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think he's going. He's going alone.
Is he going alone? Yeah, because I saw the picture. It was. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I did see Mandla giving a speech and, an impassioned speech where his wife and two little kids were there and he has to leave them behind also.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are these,
so she's not
very
going.
Courageous souls who are going there. We should be thinking of them, and our thoughts and prayers must be with them.
Listen, Eunice, I think one thing that we could all agree about, despite the side of the fence that you may occupy at any given point, is that we do need peace. I think that is very important. And you've raised this issue, and I'm thinking that it will resonate with a lot of people out there, and it's gaining the international momentum that you've spoken about. And I suspect that many of us, until thus far, we were thinking that as the world matures, as the global political sphere gains a little bit of momentum and grows, and diplomacy becomes a tool of engagement for dispute resolution, the world was becoming a safer place. So much that there were authors who were now writing about the fact that given that we're in a relatively peaceful space, we are more likely to live longer. But all these conflicts are generally taking us a little bit back, and we are regressing. And I would assume that all peace-loving citizens of the world would want to get some peace for a change. I'm glad you brought it up, Eunice. Thanks for your thoughts. Really appreciate it. Thanks, man. Eunice and Kilani, give us a shout. 011-883-0702. 13 minutes to 10 o'clock. Sipho, you are in Foslo, Ekurhuleni. Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Thabo. Man, I think I had a straightforward scam. 2 weeks ago, I ordered some stuff online on these overseas online shops. And normally then they would send you a customs bill from their shipping company. And I got an email like that asking me to pay 74 Rand for custom duty. As I was going into my online bank, as I was about to enter 74 Rand, and I had already given most then my credit card number, they deducted 3,500.
Whoa.
And then sent me a screen immediately to enter an OTP, because I have to authorize that amount. But the OTP screen was fake. They never sent me the OTP to authorize, and I never entered any OTP. And yet they deducted 3,500.
And you went to the bank to tell them about this?
I'm busy online with the bank.
Okay.
I mean, these days to go to the bank is pointless.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, did you get in touch with the bank physically or electronically?
Got in touch with the bank last week. Had a back and forth thing with them. They said they were investigating. They come back to me and they say, MasterCard says it was authenticated by me. They call it 3D authentication. Because it's when I have to authorize the amount.
Yes.
But I'm saying, no, I never authorized the amount. I just entered my credit card details. But it seems like I'm stuck on that now, on that back and forth. But you authorized it. I say, no, I did not authorize it. All I did was to enter my credit card number.
Yeah. No, Sipho, I think we must be at it. We must just keep knocking on the door I truly wish, and I'm not saying all banks, I'm not saying in all instances, because I know banks will be touched in their studios if you say any critical word against them. Yeah. So, whilst it's not all banks, but we expect you to do better as banks. If you're a CEO of a bank, executive, work for the bank, we expect you to do better. Those excuses that you give us are somehow irritating. I'd rather you don't wait for a time where we just say enough is enough and we take our business elsewhere. Honestly, the paternalistic attitude that we get from banks when these scams happen is irritating, and banks must do better. They must just do better. I mean, if you offend a bank in any way, they take a decisive action right here, right now against you. But when you are the one who's offended, they take forever. You need to do better as bank executives, as employees of those institutions. 9 minutes to 10.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Wendy Nola on 702 afternoons, and Malcolm Harvey, founder of View for You.
So, lessons learned, you rather stay completely independent, do your thing. Have you ever had any of the dealerships that you've mentioned? Because even I, as a consumer journalist, I've watched some of those posts and thought, whoa, there's going to be a comeback on this. Have you had any legal challenges or other kind of challenges about what you've said not being true about the car?
So I've had so many times. Just today, before I even came here. So I've had legal challenges. I've been summoned to high courts. I've been in every case that we've done, we've won.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
They've stood tall, served hard, and dreamt big. Now it's time to honor the best among them. It's Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Tune in on Tuesday, 9 September from 6 a.m. when we reveal the winners and celebrate the excellence that makes Gauteng feel like home. Because every time a business wins, the whole community shines. Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
Are you living with diabetes? Tired of painful fingerstick tests? Introducing a new continuous glucose monitoring system from Abbott Laboratories. The Freestyle Libre 2 system sends glucose readings straight to your compatible smartphone. With minute-by-minute glucose readings, optional glucose alarms, and excellent accuracy, the Freestyle Libre system is here to support you in the management of your diabetes. For more information and where to buy your Freestyle Libre 2 sensor, visit www.freestylelibre.za.com. Now available at your local pharmacy.
Mzansi, don't miss out on playing Powerball and Powerball Plus for a life-changing 103 million rand in total guaranteed jackpots this Friday. That's right, play Powerball for the guaranteed 50 million rand and Powerball Plus for the guaranteed 53 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Tap into the power of 40 Winks. Visit Dial-A-Bed today and save up to 30% on our best-selling brand. Our 40 Winks Sleep Tribe Pro Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to 7,999, and our 40 Winks Active Zone Extra Firm Comfort Queen Set is now only 11,999. Plus, get next-day delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. You're on 702 right now. Tabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. You've been sending some text messages. Let me give them attention. They came through on 072-702-1702. Hi, Tabo. I was a victim of fraud last August where criminals used my credit card to pay the toll gates in Mpumalanga, even though I've never lost my card. And I was right here in Gauteng. More than 10,000 rands was fraudulently used, but luckily for me, I got it all back after some sweat and tears and help from who? Consumer Ninja, Wendy Nola. Didn't I tell you to contact Wendy? Didn't I tell you? Next text is, it says, my father was a victim of a bank scam. He went to Nedbank to withdraw from his fixed deposit, but never got the funds. He wanted only half of his money, but the bank official released all the money he had in the account. I suspect the employees, as he never got the notification. But what recourse do people have in a corrupt country? 011-883-0702. I would like to hear from you about this. Earlier on, I was lamenting the fact that banks need to do better, especially where you can prove that, listen, I was not even anywhere close to that place. And this authentication that happens, at times, you need facial recognition when you're about to make a transaction, I suppose, over a certain amount, or if it's to someone who's not a beneficiary on your list. The banks would require you to authenticate with facial recognition, thumbprint, or anything of the sort. Having said that, knowing that you didn't go through all those processes and your money still disappears, shouldn't the bank take some measures to rectify that situation, to reimburse you, and to give you some bit of comfort? I think they must take some reasonable steps towards you as a client. But my fear, and this is just a fear, that a number of these are not reported. A number of these scams that are happening within the banking system may not be reported, because I suspect that the more they report, the less confidence you would have in the banking system. So very minimal, I suspect, comes forward. And we are saying this, if you've just joined us, on the backdrop of a very interesting piece that came out in today's edition of The Citizen newspaper, penned by Ina Opperman. And Ina was saying that it is a crime that has become so prevalent that almost all of us know at least one person who was the victim of scammers who called and pretended to be from the person's bank and then cleaned out their bank account. And apparently, from 2023, the numbers were at 31,612. And in 2024, they skyrocketed to 64,000. And the losses were at about 1 billion, and they have gone all the way to 1.4 billion. And various individuals are complaining that the OTP was sent to them. However, very little was done to the effect. I wanted to find out from you if you were a victim of a banking scam. 072-702-1702. 2 minutes to 10 o'clock.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
My name is Olina, and what I love about 702 is the Clement Manyathela Show. I didn't think that I would see Clement today.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts,
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
It's time to eat, dance, and celebrate the DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Stars, serving up to 2 days of world-class entertainment from international acts of SA's finest artists, alongside culinary masterpieces from the best local chefs. Browse fashion and art, take part in live cooking demos, and soak up the festival's electric atmosphere. Saturday 20 September is for you and your crew, and Sunday 21 September is for your family picnic vibes. DSTV is turning 30 and you're invited to the party. One ticket, endless experiences. Tickets at Ticketmaster. More on deliciousfestival.com.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Oh, hello. Let's do a little word association. I'll say some phrases, you see how they make you feel. Retirement, credit card balance, another interest rate hike. Still calm? Well then, you've got the F Factor. It's that special something that comes from having a clear financial plan to manage and protect your finances. If you broke into a sweat, you probably don't have it yet. Visit livewithconfidence.co.za to up your F Factor. Sanlam. Live with confidence. T's and C's apply. Sanlam Life is a licensed life insurer and authorized FSP.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. As a legal battle looms between the sacked SA Tourism Board and Minister Patricia de Lille, former members say she got her facts wrong when she decided to fire them. Last month, de Lille announced the decision to dissolve the board for allegedly convening an unlawful meeting. But board members have denied this, and they are now taking their bid to challenge their dismissal to courts. While the minister has taken issue with some decisions taken by the board, former member Lawson Naidu says the decision was unlawful.
There was a resolution, and the resolution was that the board appointed me as a representative to speak of and to communicate on behalf of the board. The minister is actually quite confused. She does not seem to understand the difference between a meeting of the board, a special meeting of the board, or a round-robin resolution. You take a round-robin resolution without a meeting.
Cape Town police have launched a manhunt for people linked to the murder of a taxi owner in Lwandle. The 42-year-old man, affiliated to Taxi Association Qatar, was shot by unknown gunmen while driving his car yesterday. This attack comes 2 weeks after 5 people were shot and killed at different taxi ranks in the metro. A feud between taxi associations Qatar and Kudeta over a route is believed to be behind the killings. Here's the police's Malcolm Poji.
The motive is believed to be taxi conflict related. The suspects are yet to be arrested. We appeal to anyone with information to contact Captain Lukanya Magatla or the Provincial Detective Serious and Violent Crime on 082 411 3245 or alternatively Crime Stop on 08600 10111.
Staying in Cape Town, a man is expected to make his first appearance in court today for firing gunshots using a police officer's firearm. The naked man was caught in the CBD earlier this week. No injuries were reported during Wednesday's incident. Lauren Isaacs has more.
The bizarre situation in the Cape Town CBD this week involved a naked man firing several gunshots with a SAPS firearm. Officers responded to a call of a naked man on the pavement in Kierum Street who refused to cooperate after he was instructed to cover himself. Police say while trying to arrest the man, he managed to grab one of the police officers' guns. In video clips of the incident shared on social media, the man can be seen firing at least 3 shots, 2 of them into the ground. Executive Director of Gun Free South Africa, Stanley Maposa, says the incident is deeply concerning but not surprising in a country flooded with guns.
What it highlights is just how dangerous and destabilizing firearms are when they fall into the wrong hands.
Police officials were eventually able to contain the situation and arrest the man. Lauren Isaacs, Eyewitness News.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that any Western forces deployed to Ukraine will be a legitimate target for Moscow's army. The statement comes a day after Kyiv's allies said that they have committed to a troop presence in the event of a peace deal. 24 countries led by France and Britain pledged to join a reassurance force on land, at sea and in the air to patrol any agreement to end the conflict unleashed by Russia in 2022. Tens of thousands have been killed in 3.5 years of fighting, which has forced millions from their homes and destroyed much of eastern and southern Ukraine in Europe's bloodiest conflict since World War II. Gold is trading at $3,546.79 an ounce. The rand is at 17.73 to the dollar, 23.84 to the pound, 20.69 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.70 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 South. This is between Marlborough Drive and the the Vincent Chabalala Road exit, and that's due to roadworks taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout there while traveling on the M2 West towards the Crown City area. Do expect delays between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng this Friday. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, as a legal battle looms between the sacked SA Tourism Board and Minister Patricia de Lille, former members say she got her facts wrong when deciding to fire them.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 10 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. You are on 702. My name is Thabo Shalemashau. I'm in for Clement. We're together till 12. Great having you with us. In the previous hour, it was an open line and we touched on this, that and the other, including President Trump saying that the Defense Department's name should be changed to the Department of War. Then I asked you, which departments would you change given an opportunity here in South Africa, and which should be replaced by what? And we received very interesting comments from you. We also spoke about a sensitive issue of bank scammers. Have you been scammed by a bank, or not by a bank, but have you been a victim of a bank scam wherein your money just disappeared, and through third party or other people who interfered with the system, the money just poof went into air and you couldn't find it anymore? And did you get some recourse from the bank? And another scenario which we didn't ventilate properly during that time was the unfortunate realities that so many of those who've been scammed had to live with. Many of them did not only have to live with the trauma of being kidnapped, but also of having those kidnappers forcing them to give them their PIN codes, and as a result, large sums of money have been withdrawn from their accounts. And when they went to banks to explain this, very little happened in their favor to get some bit of justice. That's really terrible. Well, we continue on a different line now. Thanks for staying with us here on 702, and keep those calls coming through. Our feature is Across the Desk.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Every Friday, Clement would be speaking to interesting individuals from different industries, different backgrounds, and he would be letting us into those industries. Have you ever, if you're as old as I am, at least picked up a newspaper? Because I know a number of people just prefer to do that online now. But I remember the days when I'd pick up a newspaper after reading the hardcore stuff. I'd go to some pages and read amazing lifestyle journalism pieces. And they would be so refreshing, almost like energizing you after getting the hardcore news. So we decided that we'd like to invite to the studio lifestyle journalists to give us an insight into what is it that they do and why do they see things so differently from the rest of us. At least that's what I'm thinking. And today we sit down with some of the country's leading lifestyle journalists for an intimate conversation about their craft. We also look at how they capture the pulse of our culture, style, and everyday living while navigating the fast-changing media landscape. This moves from telling stories that inspire to balancing authenticity with demand. And we are joined by Offense Tladi, a former True Love magazine journalist and master's candidate. Offense joins us right now via Zoom. Offense, hi, welcome. I hope you're good.
Leading lifestyle.
Offense, not We'll go back to Offense in a short while. And now we also in the studio, Kaunda Tatiana, who's joining us, who's a deputy lifestyle editor at News 24. Kaunda, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me as well.
Please correct my pronunciation of your surname before I embarrass myself
That's
even further.
Middle name Tatiana. My surname is Selisho.
Selisho.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
happy that you came through.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, is lifestyle journalism completely different from mainstream? And by mainstream, I mean current affairs, politics, or do the two fuse into each other in different ways?
I would find that having come from a current affairs reporting background, they do fuse in certain ways, but lifestyle allows you a little bit more room to have more fun.
Yeah.
Not only in the topics that you cover, but also in the way that you present them to people.
Yeah. So that would obviously determine your writing style.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Long form?
I prefer long form. That's because I'm a very verbose person.
Yeah.
I've been a verbose writer for most of my career, so that's been a little bit difficult for me to learn to, truncate my writing. But yeah, long form, short form, if it's like a breaking news story and you don't have many details, obviously you would keep it short form. But long form is what I enjoy most when trying to give you that color, paint you that picture, put you in the scene and really give you information that I think would help and apply to your lifestyle, rather, let me say.
Certainly. And earlier on, I said offense. It's actually Mbali Mbatha who's joining us from the City Press. Mbali covers arts, culture, entertainment at the City Press. Mbali, hi, welcome. Third time a charm. Let's try Mbali again. Mbali? No. We'll try one more time. No, I think let's continue. But here's the thing, Kaunda. I think we should also not try to make the latter less important than the former. And do you find that a lot of people make that mistake, thinking that this is a by the way side, it's a distant cousin of journalism?
Yes, both inside and outside the newsroom, I would find, especially given such a serious and hard news brand that I work for, sometimes you'd find that our readers would stumble upon some of our more lifestyle content and they'd ask, why is this on this platform? And I think we, as journalists, also need to do a better job of communicating to people the holistic picture of everything that we're trying to give them. So there is that view that a lot of people have about lifestyle content and entertainment reporting as well.
You said you moved from mainstream, you moved from current affairs, but why did you make the change?
Partially because I feel like personality-wise, I was more inclined to lifestyle, but as a young journalist, you also do end up with that previous stigma that we're talking about, where you think the more serious journalism is on that side of the newsroom. And because I majored in politics and current affairs when I was studying, I thought that was the long-term route that I wanted to take. But the publisher, different editors kept saying to me, you do well in lifestyle. And after months of them convincing me and trying to push me to that side, I ended up moving towards it. And not to say that I wasn't doing well in current affairs. I think the thing about being a good journalist is you can fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
I just excelled more in lifestyle. And I think that's because I was more in tune and aligned to it, also just with my personal interests as well.
Do you find that in South Africa, there's less appreciation of lifestyle as opposed to, or attention, maybe not appreciation because it's hard to measure, but attention on lifestyle journalism pieces as opposed to the mainstream or the current affairs? And I'm comparing that with what's happening in the US with New York Times or the New York Post or any of the major leading publications, The Guardian on the other side of the Atlantic also, where readers would really be consumed and would, in many instances, even know the writers, the journalists, their lifestyle. In South Africa, do you think that there's less attention in that space?
I think there is, but that's also because of the previous characterizations of the media where everything lifestyle and entertainment was associated with tabloid and gossip. So that's a characterization that people have. I mean, even with people disparaging the media in general, they put us under that broad umbrella of the media with that negative connotation. Also just not understanding the ways in which we can enrich their lives and plug into their lives. So I do find that that is it's something that we have to contend with as well.
Yeah, I'm told that Mbali is now ready and she's joining us. Mbali covers arts, culture, and entertainment at the City Press. Mbali, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I struggled to connect there for a bit, but I'm good now.
Okay, welcome. We were just covering with Kaunda in the studio a number of issues around lifestyle journalists. What do you guys do? I mean, you just chill, enjoy life, go to bars, picnics, and go to the office and write about that, and that happens to be your jobs.
I don't know if I should say I'm glad you said that, but I'm glad I have the platform to clear it out because that's essentially what people think our lives are.
Yeah.
Oh, they just go to events, they hang out with celebrities. It's really not as glamorous as people would like to believe that it is. And I'm always just saying that if you want to join the lifestyle journalism space because you are after the parties and the celebrities and the vibes and the free alcohol, like you've just mentioned, then it will swallow you because those things are a part of our job. Yes, they are a part of our job, but there's still the responsibility to report factually in the same sense that a journalist who is in politics has got the same responsibility. So, I mean, just because we've got all of those things doesn't necessarily take away the fact that we also have to report ethically as much as everybody else does. Even if we are reporting from an event, it still has to be done ethically and factually.
Arts, Mbali, can be a divisive subject in many instances because you have those conventionalists who are staunch and very vehement, stringent on their thoughts, and this is just what art is and nothing else. And art has been polluted by this, that, and the other. And on one end, it evolves and it finds itself in different terrains, interpreted differently. Do you find that there is controversy at times in what you do, more than what we think there is, as opposed to politics and other things that you've just covered? Because this can also be a very contentious space.
The art space is very interesting. Actually, just speaking about some of the things that we have to contend with, I just came from the Fame Week Africa that was held in Cape Town. Well, it's still ongoing, but I'm back in Joburg now. And when you speak of controversies, one of the things that was unpacked at the festival was the very controversial subject of the United States and Trump's presidency and some of the things that he's trying to implement, because the artists were discussing how the Trump era is affecting the arts and culture space in their various parts of the world. It's a global festival. I don't know how many countries were there this year, but I know that last year there were about 110 countries, 50 of which were African, and then the other countries were from other parts of the world. So again, when you talk about art evolving, I don't think anybody who existed in the art space, let me say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, would have ever imagined that the political space that Trump is in would have such an effect on arts and culture. The Canadians were speaking about how their artists get arrested for being illegally in the USA, even when they are in possession of their passports. They were talking about how difficult it is to shoot films in the USA now. So yeah, it does evolve as the world evolves, and it also, the art space gets entangled in other sectors that exist in the world, because we cannot exist in silos. As much as the world is changing, the world is evolving, things are happening in the world, it also affects the arts and culture space. It also finds its way into this space.
Let me come back to you, Kaunda. What sort of pieces do you enjoy writing, where you are most at home? And I'm sure you'll say all of them, but is there a particular space where you're saying, we haven't done enough work, and in this space, my voice would be louder and it would add more value?
So currently, the verticals that I am in charge of are wellness and relationships. So that, in addition to covering travel pieces, are things that I quite enjoy, especially as it relates to wellness, because I think a lot of it has been spoken about in a way that talks at people. And the wellness space is bigger than we could imagine, especially in South Africa, given how we're doing with our health and the way it affects the economy and the longevity of people's lives. So that's a space that I'm quite enjoying focusing on, demystifying and learning. I'm an eternal student as a journalist, so I'm quite enjoying the wellness space and also the travel space, which is a space that I find doesn't have much representation when it comes to Black people. And also just information for them because even though we've come quite far as a country, a lot of people forget the residual effects of that, not just in the country, but in the world, where someone might think a destination is out of their reach because they just might not feel that they'll be comfortable, they'll be accommodated, they'll be welcomed when they go there. So with a little bit of an element of liking things as a journalist, you go and you try it out, and then you give people the information in a way that's useful to them.
On the wellness space, Meta, there is a lot of ambiguity about the terminology itself. And I suppose we need to do more crafting around that, or it could simply be my ignorance. But I find it to be so huge and ambiguous. And having written about it yourself, what are some of the existing misnomers about wellness? Because I would assume it covers mental wellness and various other forms of wellness. But where are we? What is it that we're not getting about wellness?
I think what we're not getting about wellness is, number one, alternative forms of medicine, but not to say alternative in that I heard this from my neighbor down the street, because I find a lot of that in my reporting, but just alternative in that it's not the mainstream, but it's still something that's been researched, scientifically backed. It's just not backed by big pharma, and big business. So there's also that. And then misnomers, especially when it comes to mental health. I don't get as much engagement on those kinds of topics as I hope I would from the audience. I don't, as much as it is a problem, I don't find that I'm connecting with the people who take it seriously and want to consume that information en masse. But it's something that I still find that's very important, especially in the Black community, with the ways that we've been speaking about it. So yes, we're definitely evolving, we're changing. Older generations are becoming more open-minded, and generations that exist outside of suburban centers as well are getting that information to them. It's just not happening as fast as I'd personally hope it would be.
And my guest, Kaunda, is Deputy Lifestyle Editor at News 24, and Mbali, Arts and Culture Entertainment Writer at the City Press. Across the desk feature today, we are speaking to lifestyle journalists, and they write amazing pieces, and we see them online, also on print. And these are some stories that really help us to think a little bit deeper. And one thing about this form of journalism, when you pick up a piece and you love it, you really, 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 really love it so much that you want to hold on to it. You just don't read and let it go and dispose of it. Mbali, I wanted to come to you and to ask almost the same question as I did with Tatiana about the kind of beat that you enjoy within the arts and culture entertainment. I would assume it's more than just writing about an artist releasing an album, and this is their fourth in their discography, and this time around they're wearing a red jacket on the sleeve, and so on and so on. It goes a little bit deeper than that. In your attempts, what are you showing us that we're not seeing that is different from the entertainment space?
Actually, what you're talking about now, so-and-so has released his fourth album. He likes to wear red shirts in all of his album covers. This time he's wearing a blue shirt. I really just like to ask different questions. I don't think that if you speak to anybody that I've ever interviewed, they will tell you that I've asked them ever at any point in their life, what is it that inspired you to get into whatever line of work you're in? Because I feel like people answer that question every day. If you Google any artist of your choice, what inspired, I don't know, Dr. John Kani to become an actor, for example, you would find it. Somebody has said it. A few people have said it. So I always try to ask questions differently. But I think I also am with Kay in terms of the travel work. I thoroughly enjoy writing about the arts in particular. And I always just try to interweave it into other aspects of lifestyle. For example, I once did a piece where I intermarried tourism and filmmaking, whereby I was just letting my readers know that when you are watching, I don't know, The Queen, and somebody's getting married and it's a very nice venue where they're getting married, there are people who are tasked to scout the locations.
Yes.
And those people, I don't think location scouts, their job goes as far as finding a nice venue for Sbu and Tandega to get married. It's also to let South Africans know that in such and such a part of South Africa, there is such and such a space that you can visit if you are into wildlife, if you are into, I don't know, the ocean, etc. So I always like to just bring in different aspects of things and just marry them together, because I mean, one of the things that I would like to see happening more is South Africans traveling within our own country. It's very nice that people can afford to go overseas, and if you can, that's great. But I mean, let us start here at home, and I try to do that when I write about the arts and just give a platform to other areas of our country that can be interwoven into the arts, and just give that education and let my readers know.
Yeah, I want to ask you about some of the people that you used to read in the space that you're occupying right now, both of you. And I'm afraid of mentioning some names myself, because I don't know if those brilliant writers want to be clustered or put into the category of lifestyle journalism, and they'll see themselves as journalists. But I found that those pieces were extremely provocative. I mean, Leslie Mofokeng, when he wrote about Brenda Fassie, you wouldn't find that richness of content anyway. And yes, it would be about Sis Brenda that we know, but he'd bring in a whole lot of nuance and subcultures that we'd never even thought. And we just saw a performer being a diva, but they would link it to a psychological premise that exists and so on. So I think, and I find those extremely eye-opening. So Kaunda, I wanted to find out from you, and I'll come to you, Mbali, as well. The people that you read, who are you reading, and why do you choose them?
So growing up, I was an avid reader, and I enjoyed the fact that I come from a time where there weren't as many distractions as there are now. So when I was done with a book, I would read the Sunday Times front to back on a Sunday. Every Sunday with my dad, it was a tradition. He'd go out in the morning, come back with the papers, and my dad was a very observant parent, as was my mom. So when he'd go out, he'd bring me like a stack of magazines. So I would read all of them. But I grew up mostly on Sunday Times and True Love. So writers like, I used to love columnists. Fred Kumalo, I used to love reading his column. Like you said, Bra Leslie. When I was an intern back then it was Times Media, now it's Arena. I went and I introduced myself to him because the newsroom was vast and you got introduced to all the editors. But like you said, the entertainment space wasn't considered. So they were introducing us to all the news editors, all the production editors. And I went and I introduced myself to Brad Leslie. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm an intern. I only have a year. Anything you want to use me for, I'm available. In True Love, the likes of Lerato Shabalala.
Of course.
Reading the editor's letter at the beginning. Now, as much as I'm working with her, but I am a magazine fangirl, Mbali Soga, enjoying reading those editors' letters at the beginning of the publication. Those are the people that I grew up reading. I know I'm leaving out quite a few, but I just used to read everything.
I see. I mean, so let's come to you, Mbali. I'm thinking of names like, and I'm sure he'll shout at me for putting him in this category later on and insult me. But nonetheless, when you reminded me of him, when you mentioned the Sunday Times, I mean, the Sunday Times was not the Sunday Times without Bongani Matondo.
Yes.
I mean, what a prolific, underrated right-hand side that we should be doing far more to celebrate Bongani Matondo. Mbali, you, some names that come to mind?
Funny you should say that, because I actually currently have a copy of Bongani Madondo's I Am Not Your Weekend Special. It's a book. It's actually about Brenda Fassie. I got it a few months ago. I'm not done reading it. An unfortunate thing happened. I got the book because I was researching something that I wanted to write about. I wanted to write about South African, impactful South African women in music. And it was part of my research. And as I was doing the research, I started to uncover some very, shall you say, toxic things about the music industry and how women back then were treated. And I just, to protect my mental health, I felt like, let me park this for now and just gather my strength, and then I'll continue reading it when I feel better mentally. But my history with reading is a little bit different, quite different from Kay's.
Yeah.
I am very sorry. I am now very much, well, I'm not ashamed of it, but it's quite embarrassing. I consumed a lot of Sweet Valley High in high school.
You should be. You should be.
Totally. I read all of the books, and it would be very frustrating for me when I would go to the library. Maybe I've read Sweet Valley 16. I'm trying to find 17, and I get to the library, and there's 14, 15, and then there's 21, and I'm just like, hey.
Yeah.
There wasn't necessarily a big culture of newspaper reading at home when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I would buy True Love a lot when I had money to buy my own magazines. I also used to read Drum. I remember they had a thing in Drum where people would contribute stories, and readers would contribute their own stories,
Yes.
and those would get published. I really, really, really enjoyed those short stories.
Yeah, I mean, names like Barry Ronge come to mind as well, how he would really extrapolate the film world in a relatable way. It's exactly 10:30. Siso Zulu will tell us what's coming up, but just after he has done that with Eyewitness News headlines, we'll continue with my guest. Please venture forth your thoughts, your thinking around lifestyle journalism. Tell us who are some of your favorites on 072 702 1702. Sfiso, what's the latest?
Thanks, Tabo. Good morning. Western Cape Police have stepped up patrols and raids in gang-ravaged areas. In operations across the Cape Town city in the past week, SAPS has recovered about 83 firearms. Officers attached to various stations arrested multiple suspects for the possession of illegal guns. Staying in Cape Town, a man is expected to make his first court appearance today for firing gunshots using a police officer's firearm. The naked man was caught in the CBD earlier this week. No injuries were reported during Wednesday's incident. And Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that any Western forces deployed to Ukraine will be a legitimate target for Moscow's army. The statement comes a day after Kyiv's allies said that they have committed to a troop presence in the event of a peace deal. 24 countries led by France and Britain pledged to join a reassurance force on land, at sea and in the air to patrol any agreement to end the conflict unleashed by Russia in 2022. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling in Devland, we've got delays on the Golden Highway coming out of Union Avenue due to an accident. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North approaching the Kilulis interchange. And if you're traveling on the N12 West, do expect some delays between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. In Sharon Lee, rather North Riding, we've got an accident on Malibongwe Drive. It's reported right near Northumberland Avenue. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic in four ways along Winnie Mandela Drive. This is between the Witkoppen Road exit and Leslie. That's due to faulty traffic lights, so please be on the lookout there. More updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Ready to lead the future of business? At Wits Business School, leaders don't just adapt, they define what comes next. Choose from a wide range of postgraduate programs designed to develop your leadership and strategic thinking skills. Whether you are looking to deepen your expertise or broaden your horizons, there's a qualification for you. At Wits Business School, ambition becomes leadership. Visit WBS.ac.za to find the program that's right for you. That's WBS.ac.za.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Mzansi, don't miss out on playing Powerball and Powerball Plus for a life-changing 103 million rand in total guaranteed jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for the guaranteed 50 million rand and Powerball Plus for the guaranteed 53 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Tap into the power of 40 winks. Visit Dial-A-Bed today and save up to 30% on our best-selling brand. Our 40 winks Sleep Tribe Pro Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to 7,999, and our 40 winks Active Zone Extra Firm Comfort Queen Set is now only 11,999. Plus, get next day delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
702 and corporates that care with Ekwele are talking about Ekwele's commitment to uplifting communities across South Africa.
From Ekwele's side, we get a lot of requests for water. I think that access to clean drinking and safe water has become a daily challenge for many people. So we get a lot of requests. We really deliver hundreds and thousands of bottles every year. Recently, we saw a need for a more longer-term solution, more sustainable water solutions. When we turned 25, we delivered 25 water tanks to 25 communities all over South Africa. And it was really heartwarming to see what a difference a tank can make. The first tank we put up was at a school in Groudville and KwaZulu-Natal, and the principal told us now they don't need to close their school anymore because sometimes they had to close school early because they didn't have water.
Ekwele, making a positive impact one drop at a time. Learn more at ekwele.co.za. 702. Let's walk the talk.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Lifestyle journalism comes under the limelight today on Across the Desk, and we're speaking to lifestyle journalists who are joining us right now. Mbali Mbata, arts, culture and entertainment writer at City Press, and across from my desk is Kaunda, who is a deputy lifestyle editor at News 24, and we just wanted to find out what goes into the world of lifestyle journalism generally, the pieces that you read that you love so much, people behind them, but also what makes it so different and how does it really change the narrative of a country, because lifestyle journalism has the potential of doing that, and at times we move from one narrative to the other without even knowing subconsciously our thoughts, our opinions about this, that change, and all the people responsible for drafting those narratives in front of me this morning. Feel free to engage with them. If you've got a question for them, you are most welcome to do so. Send your voice notes to 0727021702. Alternatively, call us directly and I will give you an opportunity to share your thoughts with them on 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. 23 minutes after 23 minutes to 11 o'clock. Kaunda, I'm just thinking about how South Africa is changing, and I wanted your thoughts together with Mbali on this one, because things that were a norm previously, be it outings, weekend activities, have changed, especially for the majority of this country. It would be rare to have found black people talking about fishing and those similar things. We were almost a black and white country. But now, golf has just taken a life of its own. And not just across color lines, but genders as well. It's something else.
Dabbing up here.
So sorry about that. But from generally from all those changes, the evolution that has taken place, please share with us, how is it informing your writing? Because it means that the sources of inspiration, of information also change. How are you navigating around that?
I always try and keep the person I'm writing for in mind, in addition to thinking about the kind of person I'd like to reach that I previously wouldn't have. So going out, and not just in my capacity as a journalist, I personally enjoy these things. So going out to restaurants, not just when you're invited, but when you'd like to spend your own money and go and check out the latest place, or go and taste the latest menu by a chef. Go and, like I recently did, take your baby on safari for the first time. Going out and actually experiencing these things and seeing the kinds of real life people who are doing these things kind of informs to a degree what you write, and also just engaging with the young and up and coming content creators. So whereas you would have mentored and engaged with young intern journalists before, now you're also contending with content creators who have the same interest in the same space that you are in, but may not have the training that you have, but they also have a very interesting perspective and an audience that they speak to. So those are some of the ways that engaging with people both who are doing these things as part of their lifestyle, but reporting on them as well. That's how that colors my reporting a little bit.
Yeah. And Mbali, tell us about, do you write from your lenses, or do you incorporate other people's views as well and subjects that you've interacted with?
I do both. And I also agree with Kay in terms of engaging with people. There is nothing I hate more than somebody who asks me to send them questions on WhatsApp or email. I would rather, I prefer actually having a meeting with someone. If it is absolutely impossible for us to have a meeting, I'd rather we have a Teams, I'd rather we have a phone call. I feel like it takes away answers that you receive when you've sent the questions via email or WhatsApp sound very rehearsed to me. So I don't really like to do that. But yes, engaging with people is very, very important. There's a certain level of connectivity that you get with somebody when you interact with them telephonically or even in person that is missing when somebody's just sending voice notes or somebody's just typing a text. There's something that you mentioned earlier about the world changing and the role of the arts in that. There's something that was said, I'm a John Kani stan. There's something that was said by John Kani a few months ago. And Sisnom Sapiliso from MultiChoice actually reiterated the same thing, where they said that people don't understand the role of artists in social cohesion. A lot of the times, artists are understood as just entertainers. And John Kani took it further when I spoke to him to say that even when the world was changing, when he was younger, when the world was trying to change away from apartheid, the influential people who were decision makers and who were instrumental in helping this country transition away from that were not quoting politicians. They were quoting plays. They were quoting journalists. They were quoting music. They were quoting writers and authors. So as people, I think it's very important for us to understand that artists are not just entertainers. These are people that actually educate us, because a lot of the times, especially in terms of taking kids to the theater, for example, kids are more likely to learn when you take them to the theater. Maybe the show is about, I don't know, a child's body being touched in the wrong ways.
Yes.
Kids that age are more likely to grasp the information if you take them to the theater and there's a 10-year-old who is their age who is experiencing that, than a teacher who is kind of lecturing to them. So, I mean, I would appreciate if we could get to a point where we actually understood the role of the arts as educators.
Yeah, and let's go to a voice note that came through on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Tabo. This is Tando. I'm a journalism graduate. Haven't practiced as a journalist, but I know journalism 101, you know. I find that lifestyle journalism, because it was associated with tabloids and gossip, I find that entertainment journalists are becoming lazier by just going on Twitter, going on TikTok, and then taking stories from there and making them headlines. That's why you'd find a lot of people asking, why is this on such a platform? Because they associate that platform or that publication with hot news, you know. I feel like entertainment journalists need to do better and not just take what we've already seen on social media and put it up as breaking news or as you know, a big story.
Yeah, Kaunda, you want to?
I definitely do. Having worked at different publications over the years, I find that we suffer the stigma of someone not actually clicking through and reading the article. And yes, there are people en masse who are guilty of what the gentleman in the voice note just outlined now. But for the most part, as someone who, out of curiosity, I click on the headline and I read it to see if the thought I had about it before opening it was confirmed in the content. And more often than not, you'll find that it isn't, depending on the sources that you tend to consult for these kinds of things. So some sources take their readers more seriously than others. And as much as, like I said, there are people who are guilty of the practice he's outlined, when you actually open the piece, there is interesting context that is given. Whether you're reading Mbali's newsletter that she sends out every week or you're reading an article, you will find that for someone who immerses herself in the spaces, she's giving you the color, she's giving you the context, she's giving you... Yes, she's speaking about a topic that's of interest to people at the moment, and you'll find that it's trending online. But there are additional things that she finds in her work as a journalist, and I'm using her as a totem for most of the other journalists that I know and that I interact with and that I respect. They do the work. There are people that don't, but more often than not, there are people that do the work, and that's what sets women like Mbali and other journalists in the space apart. And I encourage people like the person who sent the voice note and other readers to find the voices in the space and support their work and engage with them. And you'll find that they are giving you value for your money and value for your time and attention as well.
Mbali, you want to respond to Tando's voice note?
I would definitely love to jump in. He's not wrong. And it's so bad to the extent that it's not just individual journalists who are doing that. There are actual, I don't know if I can call them publications, but there are platforms who actually, that is the bulk of what they do. But I mean, in my writing, for example, I'm going to speak about my own work. What I would do, I'll make an example of an article I wrote. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, where just as Unaledi Pando was very active in her activism for Gaza and Palestine, I then wrote an article about whether South Africa was ready for a woman president or not. And Kay is absolutely right in saying that people will see the headline and then just assume that, oh, it's about this, when it isn't. In that article, and a lot of people who just saw the headline and got excited and started saying things won't even know this, but the article was not about Unaledi Pando. I actually referenced African women. I took it back to history. I went into other African countries and referenced countries that are led by women and the differences that those women have made in those countries. What I also like to do in my articles, for example, if I'm writing, the influencer story that was trending on social media just recently about the Russia saga, I like to see what everybody else has written. If there is an article there that has got context, I know I quoted an article where TikTok had actually been interviewed and they had distanced themselves from the whole thing. And they had said when they spoke to that platform that they are investigating and they are banning accounts that are associated with that START program. Now, if you are somebody who reads the work of journalists, you would have picked that up. If the influencers themselves, TikTok has now banned their accounts, but TikTok had been quoted saying they are not aligned with this. So it was just weird for me that people were posting content on the same platform that had distanced itself from that particular occurrence. So yes, it's very important that even when you see an article that seems to be about the allegations that Nandi Pamagudumana is pregnant because somebody started that rumor on Facebook, if there's an article by a journalist, read it, trust, there is going to be something deeper that you will find there that you're not going to find on social media.
Very interesting. I want us to at least delve into that a little bit deeper. But first, 12 minutes to 11 o'clock.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Chris Vick asked, 5 years from now, when they ask you about CD, what would you say? What have you learned from her? And that is, you bring your whole self into a room. You leave nothing behind. CD had a weight thing. She was a big girl, but she carried it with pride. even though she was continuously attacked and vilified. But that did not make her cower. She remained confident.
How beautiful was that tribute from Eldrin Sampier? Oh, and this is just heartbreaking.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Pneumococcal disease can strike at any time, especially if you live with a chronic condition or have weakened immunity. If you're 19 and older with the chronic disease, vaccination can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia. The risk increases for people 65 and older, and vaccination is advised to help prevent serious illness. Ask your healthcare professional about pneumococcal vaccination. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Be in the right place at the right time with Betway's jackpot slots. Stand to win your share of millions of rands in cash every week. Bet on selected slots every Thursday and Friday night between 7 and 10 p.m. and you could be our next big winner. The more you play, the more chances to win. Get way more only at Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP Counseling Line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
9 minutes to 11 o'clock on 702. We have Across the Desk feature today with lifestyle journalist Mbali and Kaunda. And we just shooting the breeze about the industry, that particular space, some of the things that you did not know about, but suppose now you are more enlightened on them as far as lifestyle journalism is concerned. But I'll come to you, but let me first ask Kaunda this. We live in a very interesting country. Mm-hmm. Where politicians double as celebrities and also as thought leaders, and they occupy a social space that goes beyond the boundaries that they ought to live within, at least formally. And I'm not suggesting that we are one-dimensional beings. But they flirt with all of these things. Today, this person is a politician. Tomorrow, they want to take pictures and tell us they are dressed by whoever and whoever. And when it suits them, they are occupying another. What does that do for your work to truly identify subjects that are authentically in the space that you occupy? Or do you find that there is somehow a conflation of issues through and through?
There is a conflation of issues, but it also presents a dilemma for us for platforming harmful people. It's difficult when you kind of want to report on the State of the Nation address because you recognize that 30,000 pair of shoes that's on some feet right now. But you have to be very careful in how you frame it, and you have to be very careful in balancing the public interest with some of these things and contextualizing the information. So especially someone who's been in the headlines since he got his dream of joining Parliament has been Gayton McKenzie,
yes,
who at the same time as joining Parliament has been on his wellness journey but has said some harmful things, has made promises to a lot of people in the sector that he didn't keep. It's how do you balance all sides of Gayton? The person who's losing weight for his house, which is a very big issue in South Africa given the rates of obesity that we have, and the person who said the things that he's in front of the Human Rights Commission and other bodies for, it creates a very difficult dilemma. But for us, specifically in our newsroom, we very much lead with balancing the public interest and also not platforming harmful people. Even if they've said something interesting and it's what people are talking about in the moment, do we want to amplify that just for the sake of having the views, or do we want to enrich the conversation in a very specific way is the question that we ask ourselves quite often.
Striking that balance must be very intricate.
It's very intricate. It involves a lot of diary discussions, heated diary discussions where colleagues sometimes shoot glares at each other and don't talk to each other for a few hours. But you need people in newsrooms who aren't afraid of confrontation, who are fearless, and who will say the thing that needs to be said, because you can't have one mind and one voice making decisions for such a mass platform. You need differing perspectives, and you need sometimes a very hard discussion to be had before we arrive at the decision that we arrive at to do the thing or not do the thing in some cases.
Mbali, please jump in.
I have a funny story to share, actually. I think because of the work that we do, it also is forgotten sometimes that we are human. And there are things that we like and the things that we don't like. As much as everybody has things that they like and dislike, we also have people that we like and people that we dislike, people who we disagree with and who we would not want to surround ourselves with. I was unfortunate enough to be asked very politely to accompany a colleague of mine to do an interview with, I don't know if I can say the name, but there is somebody who is one of the loudest. Well, there's somebody who is one of the guys who just say some very misogynistic stuff on social media. So I unfortunately had to go and interview that person. I had blocked the person on Twitter, but for the purposes of that interview, I had to unblock him, go through his content, so that I could prepare for the interview. I get there and it was very, very interesting, some of the things that he said. And the interview is completed, it's edited, it was supposed to be on video. And then the decision making that Kay is speaking about in terms of profiling and platforming harmful people. There was a decision that was made to say, nope, we are not.
Oh, we lost you there.
Going to say these things on our platform. He essentially said, sorry, I was saying that a decision was made where my superiors decided that they were not going to flight that interview because he said a lot of things, but at the core of it was women are dumb inherently, all women, including his mother.
What?
According to him, the smartest thing that she's ever done was give birth to him. So yeah, they ended up not flighting that interview because it was a matter of not wanting the City Press platform to be used for people who are going to be saying things like that, because there's also a lot of people who agree with him who would have then taken it and ran with it. So I guess they were just trying to ensure that that didn't happen on the City Press platform.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we only have 30 seconds each left for this conversation. We could speak for hours and hours. Is there any particular piece, or be it yours or someone else's, that you think it's still iconic and deserves a golden award for this genre of the work that you do?
In 30 seconds, that is so much pressure.
I know.
I enjoy people who aren't afraid to say the thing. So I will always put forward my friend Emmanuel Gia's name, editor of Sowetan SMAG, who had an interview he was supposed to do with Dali Wonga. And you know, our Amapiano artists are notorious for missing gigs, missing bookings, missing appointments. And he was the cover star, but they set the shoot and the interview on different days. He arrived for the shoot, they had the images, they had the materials, they had the cover, but he didn't arrive for the interview, and Emmanuel had to write a story. So he wrote a story about how much he admires this artist, the cultural impact that he has, but that he didn't show the respect to show up for the interview, and what that did to him both as a professional and as a fan of the artist. And I still enjoy that piece of reading till today.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's just something that I enjoy. I do enjoy people who are not afraid to say the thing, because in an age of influencers and people wanting to be liked, everyone always wants to be seen as being hyper positive, even when it's not helpful. I appreciate the voices who will say what needs to be said.
Very briefly, Mbali.
I'd actually like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to TD. I also, apart from lifestyle journalism, I do a lot of advocacy for women and children. And there was a politician who had said some just things about City that made me want to smack him, but I couldn't. So I used my voice and I wrote an opinion piece addressing exactly that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And thank you, ladies. This has been eye-opening. Really appreciate your time. I've learned so much. All the best to you. A minute to 11 o'clock.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers. Like Steakhouse Classic man-size club steak for 130 Rand per kilo. Monster Energy Drink 500 mils any two for 29 Rand. Save 24%. And Fanta Sprite or Stony soft drink 2 litres. Any two for 35 Rand. Save 13%. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday. Only at Checkers.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Saddle up for springtime success with Hollywood Bets. Experience the thrill of the turf and take a shot at a share of 100,000 Rand in cash and betting vouchers. All you have to do is bet 50 Rand or more on any horse racing meeting online or visit your nearest branch to enter. Spring into action and bet now for your shot at exciting rewards.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Western Cape Police have stepped up patrols and raids in gang-ravaged areas in operations across the Cape Town city in the past week. SAPS has recovered 83 firearms. Officers attached to various stations arrested multiple suspects for the possession of illegal guns, assault rifles, a semi-automatic weapon, several handguns and rounds of ammunition have been recovered in operations. Kaylin Pretorius has more.
This week, officers raided drug dens and identified gang hotspots in areas including Mitchell's Plain, Manenberg, Grassy Park, Steenberg, Khayelitsha and Guguletu. 83 illegal firearms and several rounds of ammunition were confiscated in these operations. In one bust in Lenteghe, Mitchell's Plain, police discovered 19 firearms and more than 1,500 rounds of ammunition. Silencers, a stun grenade and shooting target boards were also seized. In Atlantis, the Community Policing Forum's Noel Kluter has called on SAPS to address an uptick in gang and gun attacks.
We as a CPF are engaging with the community. We're launching some programs to make the people more aware.
Meanwhile, Western Cape Police say they will not drop the momentum on these and other targeted operations. Kaylin Pretorius, Eyewitness News.
Staying in Cape Town, a man is expected to make his first court appearance today for firing gunshots using a police officer's firearm. The naked man was caught in the CBD earlier this week. No injuries were reported during Wednesday's incident. Lauren Isaacs reports.
The bizarre situation in the Cape Town CBD this week involved a naked man firing several gunshots with a SAPS firearm. Officers responded to a call of a naked man on the pavement in Kierum Street who refused to cooperate after he was instructed to cover himself. Police say while trying to arrest the man, he managed to grab one of the police officers' guns. In video clips of the incident shared on social media, the man can be seen firing at least 3 shots, 2 of them into the ground. Executive Director of Gun Free South Africa, Stanley Maposa, says the incident is deeply concerning but not surprising in a country flooded with guns.
What it highlights is just how dangerous and destabilizing firearms are when they fall into the wrong hands.
Police officials were eventually able to contain the situation and arrest the man. Lauren Isaacs, Eyewitness News.
Cape Town police have launched a manhunt for people linked to the murder of a taxi owner in Lwandle. The 42-year-old, affiliated to Taxi Association Carter, was shot by unknown gunmen while driving his car yesterday. This attack comes 2 weeks after 5 people were shot and killed at different taxi ranks in the metro. A feud between taxi associations Carter and Codeta over a route is believed to be behind the killings. The police's Malcolm Porge.
The motive is believed to be taxi conflict related. The suspects are yet to be arrested. We appeal to anyone with information to contact Captain Lukanya Magatla or the Provincial Detective Serious and Violent Crime on 082 411 3245 or alternatively Crime Stop on 08600 10111.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that any Western forces deployed to Ukraine will be a legitimate target for Moscow's army. The statement comes a day after Kyiv's allies said they have committed to a troop presence in the event of a peace deal. 24 countries, led by the France and Britain countries, pledged to a joint reassurance force on land, at sea and in the airport to patrol any agreement to end the conflict unleashed by Russia in 2022. Tens of thousands have been killed in 3.5 years of fighting, which has forced millions from their homes and destroyed much of eastern and southern Ukraine in Europe's bloodiest conflict since World War II. Gold is trading at $3,546.79 an ounce. The rand is at 17.73 to the dollar, 23.84 to the pound, 20.69 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.70 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange while traveling in North Riding. Delays along Malibongo Drive approaching Witkoppen Road. This is due to an earlier accident.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Western Cape police have stepped up patrols and raids in gang-ravaged areas following deadly violence.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Thabo Sholemashao in for Clement Manyathela. We're together till 12. The final hour of the show. In the previous hour, we touched base with two interesting and amazing journalists, Mbali and Gawunda, respectively, in the lifestyle journalism field, in the broader picture of media. They touched on the work that they did and they continue to do, how important lifestyle journalism is, because we're not just about current affairs, politics and other stuff, but there's much more that really completes us as consuming individuals, especially as far as media is concerned. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Have you ever just read a piece from a newspaper, a book, or online, and you really immersed yourself in it because it is just so juicy, chewy, and just so filled with flavors because the writer just put amazing words together and they're transporting you with these imageries that help you understand the story so well and challenge your thinking to some extent. That's the work that lifestyle journalists did. So on across the desk, we had a chat with them. And I hope that you really enjoyed that part of the show. This time around, you do know, on a Friday, we do not compromise. Relationship focus, 8 minutes after 11.
Relationship issues
Relationship talk.
on 702.
And I would like to plead for your undivided attention on this particular issue. And I would also rather you engage us and be honest. There's nothing as amazing as an honest discussion when we're speaking about relationships because it helps us to put a mirror in front of us and let's be honest. and put things just the way they are, right? So today, a special focus, we want to look at the phenomena of daddy's little girl and mama's boy in relationships. Are you dating someone who's so fixated with what their mom says, what their mom did, and how they were raised, how you are so different from their mom? And of course, I'm sounding a little bit frivolous, but this can truly get to the core of a relationship. And it can either make it or break it. It can bring a dynamic that is unwanted or puts things together. When a guy is mommy's little boy and they bring mommy into the relationship, literally and figuratively, the presence of mommy is there so much that at times a lady would ask herself in a relationship and say, well, what's my place in this if your mom is so dominant, whether she's here physically or not, or whether your dad is all that and more, plus a bag of interesting chips. Everything else that you say, my daddy this, my daddy loves me so much, he'll come and fetch me anytime I call. All sorts of stuff. Of course, I'm being naughty when I say that, but it's more serious than that. So I'd like to know, did you ever dump someone because they were mommy's little boy? Did you end a relationship because they were daddy's girl and daddy's hovering cloud was literally above you at every single go? This is quite interesting because when it comes to romantic relationships, a partner's bond with their parents can just tell us a lot about their personality, about their views and emotional patterns. And it's mainly because the early connections shape how they make decisions, how they also resolve conflicts, but most importantly, how they build some intimacy in their lives. However, challenges often arise when parental influence extends too far into childhood and it goes way too far. This is where the mama's boy and daddy's girl phenomena come into play. My guest is right here, Dutu Ntlabati Matwansela.
Hello, Tabo.
I hope you're good. We met yet again on a fateful Friday.
Oh, yes.
I hope you're good.
I am good. Just a little bit ill, but I'm good.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Is it a croaky voice or flu
No,
or something different?
It's I've got a weak immune system. So
Yeah.
every year I have to go for high doses of vitamin C and I think hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
And that afterwards, the effects of it is like you're feverish.
Yeah.
You just feel sick. It just emerges every disease that you have inside.
I'm
you.
sorry about that.
Things happen.
As long as it doesn't bring up the daddy's girl syndrome.
And I used to be such a daddy's little girl.
I wanted to find out, are you a daddy's girl?
They used to call me testic rice, you know.
Yeah,
remember
testic rice.
the advert in Dando guys.
Yeah.
So I used to be like daddy's little girl. But it's quite an interesting thing because there's a couple of things that contribute to that, right? Yes, it is how you are raised as a child. I think emotional safety. You know, when I always say what are the 3 things that need to be in place for a relationship to thrive, the biggest thing is emotional safety. I actually account about 50% of emotional safety to that relationship. And what happens is that the first set of when you experience emotional safety is usually from a parent, right?
Yeah.
And if that parent hasn't equipped you to be able to be independent and form interpersonal relationships without an over-reliance on them being able to regulate you and provide the emotional safety, becomes very hard to break the bond, right? And also what happens is that also as a parent, you know, I always say mothers love their kids the way men love their women. The only people we love unconditionally are our kids, right?
Yeah.
And I remember what somebody, very wise words said. He said that we love people who are dependent on us. We have the most unconditional love for people who make us feel wanted and important in life, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is that the child moves on, grows up, and needs to form an independent life.
Yeah.
And either you're experiencing an empty nest syndrome, or you know what, you were a single mom and you were raising this particular child, and you're so attached to this child, and your whole identity was based on providing emotional safety for this person.
Yes.
And now this person has
They're gone.
they're gone and they're starting a life with somebody else. And you struggle to let go of that because you don't know how to find yourself in this new world without being needed.
Yeah. That's very interesting. And I'm also keen to know who is likely to hold on to that relationship And please don't take into consideration to heart my singular example. It applies in all spheres, be it a girl or a guy or homosexual relationships. It applies to everything.
Yeah.
Who's most likely to be attached? Is it more of a single mom who raised a Thabo to let go of Thabo? Or is it Thabo then who is less likely to let go of Mamani? Because my mom raised me, and how does it look? What are the dynamics saying?
The most anxious person is probably the least likely to let go. So
the most anxious.
Anxious, yeah. So there isn't really a recipe in terms of it's the mother that's more likely to hold on, or it's Thabo himself, or even as a girl, as a daddy's little girl. But the person who's most anxious, whereby remember we step into this big world. And if we were not given the skills in order to navigate this big dynamic world where there's conflict, there's disappointment, there's being able to be, the need to be able to be self-sufficient, right?
Yeah.
If you step into that particular space and it causes anxiety, you're more likely to revert back to the relationship that creates the most safety. So even so, as a mom, I mean, I always say at some point I need to divorce my son because it's just, I'm extremely attached to this little person of mine, right? And if you look at my attachment, so I suffer from a lot of anxiety, right?
Yes.
And if you look at how I'm attached to my son, it's like, actually, my son is telling me sometimes, go away. Like, leave me alone. I can do it by myself, mama. Like, leave me alone and so forth and whatever. If I did not have the consciousness that at some point I need to start divorcing my son, I probably would be the problem in the future.
What does that do to a relationship if a lady is too attached to her father and her father's love and her father's security, that default setting? And what does that do to a relationship wherein she'd be involved with a stronger guy who's very much aware of that and would like a little bit of daddy's absence from the relationship? Can it really be that toxic to a level where it explodes?
It can ruin a relationship. Remember, African men are socialized, and I think men just generally are socialized that you come in and you're a provider and you're a protector for your family. So, a seamless, and there's nothing wrong with being a daddy's little girl. I mean, men love their daughters, and you come into this planet, you want to protect the people that you love, and she's this small little innocent thing. But the transition is quite important. And what happens is that if the person does not allow the other person to come in and take over certain roles. My brother said something very wise. He said, one of the biggest problems with relationships these days is people don't assume roles in a relationship. And it's not necessarily that we have to stick to traditional gender roles, but we live in a world whereby people assign their value to the role that they play. This is what I mean. You come into work, you're a manager. You're a supervisor. You're this. When you step into the studio, what role are you playing? You're leading this discussion. That is your particular role. In a world whereby people struggle with a lack of definition within what is the value that I'm bringing within this particular structure. So now you have somebody who enters the relationship and he has defined himself as a man based on the ability to provide and to play this particular role. And now you're always running to daddy. What is his role? What is my value add in this relationship? What you're really doing is you're making him question his value add. And it's the same for women. If I walk into a space or a relationship, right, and I've been conditioned to be the nurturer in the relationship, and every time now you want to change your curtains, you call your mom, or when you have a sick day, you go to your mom's or whatever. What am I there for?
Oh, but sick days, I go to my mom's place.
You are like my brother-in-law.
Yeah, but
I judge
you. The difference is that my mom is normal. But in that space, I feel I was sick, better. I think 2 weeks ago, and I slept at my mom's place. And I thought, I miss my mommy. No one will take care of me. Like, even though she's not here physically, I feel that, I'll be in that house.
Wow.
But the roles that you're talking about, and I love that example because I feel that if I step into my house, I can't be sick. I can't be vulnerable. I can't be any of that. They're expecting things from me.
Exactly.
And so I would rather go where I can be taken care of.
Yes. And imagine if you went to your mom's place, you're on sick leave, and you came back and your father-in-law was painting the house or fixing the very same thing that they've been asking you to fix for the last 12 weeks, right? So it's a roles thing. And we have to understand roles mean that if I'm clear in terms of my role, I'm clear in terms of my value add.
Yeah.
A relationship is a value exchange. A healthy relationship is when there's an exchange of value. right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the minute now I feel like I cannot give value, never mind just receive the
Yeah.
value out of this relationship, but give a certain amount of value.
I see.
Struggle. Psychologically, we struggle with that.
Listen, I would like to ask you, because on Relationship Focus today, we're talking about how to navigate a relationship with mama's boy or daddy's girl. And it could easily be daddy's boy and mama's girl, either way. So I'd like to ask you, when you're listening to us right now, I want to ask you, is your partner a mama's boy or daddy's little girl? How involved are your partner's parents in your relationship? I would want to know from you, your lived experience. Please share with us. Have you ever left a relationship because you felt the over-domineering presence of their mom or their dad, and you thought, I'm not going to stomach any of this, especially the guys from the north with Bomma? I'd love to hear from you. 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. That's where you can call us. And you can also get hold of us by sending a voice note and text message to 072-702-1702. Laura is calling from Bedford. Hey, Laura.
How are you?
Let's try again, Laura. I lost you for a second. One more time. Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Can you hear me?
Staggering line. Third time a charm. Let's try again, Laura. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear?
Yebo.
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's go for it. Thank you.
Tabo, I can tell you a full life story, and I can take an hour to tell you. So I dated a man who lived with his mom. He was 56 years old. And basically what would happen is if I held his hand, his mom would get upset with me. One instance happened where we were driving in a car, and I put my hand on his lap as we were driving, and mom was sitting in the back of the car. And she started getting agitated and antsy, and I said to her, "What is wrong?" She said, "Nothing." And then he asked her, "What's wrong, Mom?" And she said, "She shouldn't be holding your leg. You are concentrating on driving. She shouldn't be holding your leg." And then during the days, I would phone him and say, "So how was your day?" And he'd say to me, "But I told you how my day was." And I'd say to him, "No, you weren't talking to me. You told your mom." So mom was the first priority, and everything mom said would go. So we had to basically live our lives going what mom said. So one night we go to a party. We just arrived, 10 o'clock. She phones him and she says, "You must come home now. It's late and you can't drive home late. You've got to make sure you're in bed by 10 o'clock. And I freaked for a week. And I stayed in that relationship for 6 years. I don't know why.
Goodness me. Don't go away, Laura. Don't go away. Let's hear what Dutu has to say, because Dutu and Tlavatima Tanzala is the relationship coach.
It's an over-dependency on each other. Actually, both of them are wrong. Because at some point, so Laura, at some point, even if a mother can be overbearing or overwhelming and so forth, at some point the child needs to push back, because you want your independence as a child and you want to be able to do things. Like I say, my son will be like, "No, Mama, actually you can stay back for this one." So as a grown man, the inability to be able to form clear boundaries, and I know, boundaries with your mom, it's quite hard, right? Here, because you're not trying to hurt her, but you're also in love with somebody else. But he needed to start establishing boundaries, even if he was doing it slowly at a time in establishing boundaries, and he didn't. And he was the center of that relationship between him and his mom and him and his girlfriend, right?
What could have Laura done before we say goodbye to her?
What could have Laura done?
Yeah.
I think Laura should have given an ultimatum very soon.
Laura?
Yes, I did, but I was stupid and I thought this relationship would work, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Laura, and thanks for opening up and being vulnerable with us and sharing a very interesting part of your life with us. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thanks, Laura, in Bedford View. Jeff, you are in Woodmead. Hi, morning.
Yes. I've been a bachelor all my life, so I know a fair amount about this stuff, and my personal experience hasn't been that. But I think we should kind of swap this around. I think that it's the parent's obligation to separate from the child at a point, that be at 15 or 16 or whatever it is, because invariably you'll find that the parents' relationship, their own relationship, is lacking, and therefore they use their children as an extension to perhaps supplement that thing, because it's not about a daddy's girl or a mommy's boy. It's about the mother saying to the son, "Listen, That's not how it works. And the dad's saying, I love you, my darling, and I'll always be with you, but I'm not your lover. I'm your father. And that's what I have a daughter who lives in Wales, and I said that when I was 14, she said to me, Dad, please don't tell me what to do. And I said, that's fine. Make me a promise that if you ever get into trouble, you come to me. She said, done. And I left my daughter, and today she's an IT specialist, goes around the world, and she will tell you exactly the same thing, is that it is the parents who need to do the divorce and not the other way around, because the son then feels, I've let mother down, and the daughter feels like, what's daddy going to do? He's going to be so sad. It's up to the parents to say, no, hang on. That's not going to work if you have me in your relationship as a partner or a supplement to your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Not going to work.
Yeah, but Jeff, at times parents don't want to let go for their own insecurities as well.
They have to do that.
Yeah, but you've just heard from Laura. Sorry to interrupt you. You've just heard from Laura that there was one mom who did not want to let go, despite everything else. She held on tightly to their son.
Yes, but then who should we hold culpable? Because a number of my friends over the years, I've seen it, especially with women, that they want their son to be this.
Yeah.
And I say, guys, you know what? You're setting it up because as soon as he says to his girlfriend, my mother doesn't cook it that way, the fight will start.
Dudu,
my mother
it's your turn.
But he's spot on. It is the responsibility of the parent. And what I liked what he said was that there's an inadequacy within a parent.
Yeah.
Because if you're parenting a child, you do have kids, right? Ultimately, you want to prepare them for the world. And preparation means that at some point they need to start being independent.
Yeah.
And kids start nudging you around independence. Now we have this term called preteens where people think, I know everything and so forth and whatever. But you start seeing the need for your child to have more space based on their behavior. And it's up to you to honor that request from a child's perspective, to say, okay, I'm actually going to take a step back. Because what you do, I think people, what they don't realize is that what you do, you produce a person who's not able to navigate the world. It'll be interesting to see how many of those mama's boys are also people who aren't able to handle decision-making on their own in corporate. In other spaces.
Sure.
Whereby now your child is almost like handicapped in one area simply because of the fact.
Crutch.
Yeah, and simply because you didn't allow them to be able to do so. And this is quite key for parents. I think, it goes beyond relationships. You are actually trying to, and we are going to leave this planet at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to leave our kids. Do you want your kids to be left without the ability to really look after themselves?
What is to be said about this phenomena being more prevalent in kids who were raised by a single parent?
Yes,
or by where they come from, a broken family, they were with dad and they separated. Is it more prevalent in that space, or it really doesn't matter?
You would say, in the African community, it's more prevalent in that particular space, especially, sometimes there are single moms who are in marriages, right? And what happens, in my book, I described this and I said, one of the things that you used to see in the African community was that with the migrant labor system, the dad used to leave.
Yes.
And because the dad has left, the boy child will be elevated to a male status at home. And there'll be the dependency to look after and so forth. And it was understandable. The mother's on her own. She's raising other kids and so forth. So the male child is no longer seen as a child, but actually seen as a vital, important member of this family that the woman leans to. So the minute she lets go of that, she's not only let go of her child, but she's actually letting go of her support base. And that's what she struggles with. And I think when there is a father, there's a bit of a balance. And the balance is as such that it's like my husband always tells me, you need to let him be independent, and he'd be like, oh no, you're going to go and cry to your mom and so forth. And that narrative helps balance things out. But I swear, if I didn't have my husband, it probably would be even harder for me to let go of my son.
Yeah.
Because there isn't that voice echoing in the background.
Yeah, it is my kids, my boys all the time. I'm like, oh, mommy's little boy. me. Oh, you're going to kiss mommy now. I know psychologists will come for me, but I do it. 28 minutes after 11 o'clock. Let's go to some voice notes that came through on 072 702 1702.
Hi there. My ex-husband literally allowed his family to rule our relationship. even though we broke up because of, we separated, we divorced because of many other factors, but we that was also such a main thing. They would get to our house, which was their brother's house, the sisters, and just do as they please, and completely disregard me, as if I went there, as if their brother was not married. And that was one of the reasons I decided, no, this is not healthy. They were quite overbearing, and this was primarily because apparently when the mother passed on, the mom said, please don't forget your sisters, please look after them. But it really was to our detriment at the end of the day. It was to his detriment even.
Yo, it's getting heated in here. Please share your stories with us. I'd love to hear from you about your lived experience. It's not enough for us to extrapolate from textbook examples. I'm sure you have your lived encounters that are there. Share with us. Are you a mommy's boy? Are you a daddy's girl? And let's own up to it. And how have you contributed to the demise of your relationship because of your over-attachment to your mom or your dad or anyone else in your family, so much that your partner does not feel valued, as the relationship coach, our guest, Dutun Tlabati Matonsela, has just said. It's exactly 11:30. Mbali Dlamini will give us the very latest with Eyewitness News headlines. Welcome, Mbali. Good morning.
Thanks, Tabo. Good morning. We begin with news just in. One person has been killed outside the Athlone Magistrates Court in Cape Town this morning. It's understood the man was gunned down in front of the building. Details surrounding the incident are still sketchy, but police are on the scene. The motive for the shooting is not yet known. Let's stay in the Western Cape, where police have stepped up patrols and raids in gang-ravaged areas in operations across the Cape Town this past week. Police recovered 83 firearms. Officers attached to various stations arrested multiple suspects for the possession of illegal guns. And in Joburg, the Commission of Inquiry into Hijacked Buildings in the Johannesburg CBD has concluded that the city must take responsibility for the dire living conditions in run-down properties. The commission was set up to probe the cause of the 2023 Usindiso building fire, which claimed the lives of 76 people. It was also tasked with looking into the broader issue of hijacked buildings in the inner city. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Amo, how does the traffic look?
Well, we've got some delays, Tabo, on the N14 North in the city of Tshwane approaching Trichardt Road. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the N1 North, some delays between Wrightle Avenue and Atterbury Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South approaching Samrand Avenue. This is in the Midrand area due to roadworks taking place along this route, so please be on the lookout there. And there's more roadworks taking place on the N17 West. This is right as you come out of Carnival City. Do expect delays, and traffic remains very slow in Amalgam along the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. I'm Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabo Jali will continue walking the talk with you on the traffic desk from 12 o'clock onwards. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Explore the wonders of Mpumalanga. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Get your adrenaline rush with endless adventure activities. Explore breathtaking 4x4 routes or hike the Blyden River Canyon, the third largest in the world. Unwind with spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the known, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
Spring into gardening at Chamberlain from 4 August to 12 October. Best Buy ceiling trays at R29.90 and Cultura compost at R24.90. Available at any of our 9 branches throughout Gauteng. Expert advice and friendly service guaranteed. You also stand a chance to win your share of 90,000 Rand in gift vouchers every Saturday until 12th October. Chamberlain, famous for hardware and gardening since 1903.
In a world where everything is instant, some things are worth slowing down for. You took the time to build a life of distinction. Every moment, every milestone, every decision. At Indwe, we take the time to understand your world and craft insurance solutions to protect it. Because true peace of mind is the greatest luxury of all. The right insurance starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindwe.co.za. Indwe Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetor. Sweetor has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetor.com today.
Premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk.
On 702.
25 minutes to 12 o'clock. You're on 702 Tabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. Great having you with us here on 702. And you know that Clement, during this time, he speaks about relationships. I am not moving furniture. I'm doing the very same. And I'd love to hear from you. We're speaking about the phenomena of mama's boy and daddy's girl. Dutun Tlabati Madonsela is relationship coach, and she's my guest, helping us to navigate through these very difficult, complex, seemingly simple issues, but they are so intricate that two people who genuinely love each other could go separate ways because one is mommy's boy or one is daddy's girl or mommy's girl, daddy's boy, whatever the case is. And I was asking you earlier on, are you one of those? Are you, in your heart, be fair and be open, be honest with us. Are you a daddy's little girl? And your husband will never, ever, 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 ever be like your dad. And your dad is on a pedestal and you worship the ground that he's walked on. And there's no man who will be as good as your dad for you. Let us know on 011-883-0702. Thomas is calling us from Northwest. Thanks for holding, Thomas. Really appreciate it. It's your turn to speak.
Hello, good morning. It's an interesting topic. Before I could go further, I'm not mommy's boy or daddy's boy of some sort. But in marriage, I've got a spouse that is a daddy's girl and a family girl. And what helped me was the fact that I sat down with my mom and I asked her, what happened between you and daddy? What led to you guys divorcing? And she told me the story. And I had the courage to ask my father as well. And he told me the same story. And I'm like, okay. Now, when I started experiencing it on my side, I'm like, I want to be honest. There was a time I wanted to divorce. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I don't want my kids to experience what I experienced back then. At least back then we had uncles and the likes who, play a father figure. I don't know if they'll have the same, my kids. So I told myself that I'll just for the sake of it. Yeah, and hopefully my spouse will come out of this thing and realize that, hang on, because there were at times where she came out of this thing realizing that, hang on, this guy is genuine. And I'll say to her, my mom let me go. She released me to start my own family. And she doesn't even bother me. Even when you guys were far, if I wanted to give her money, she'll start by asking me, did you sort out those ones first before me? That's how genuine she is with you guys. But on your side, you don't understand. And any decision that we take within the family, you take it to them.
Yeah.
And they interfere. And so at times I'll weigh the decision that we need to take to say, is this based on us or them? And if it's based on them, I delay it.
Yeah.
Intentionally, and it frustrates. But what I wanted to say is it's not only about boys in the north also, but even the ladies in the north. And it's not only about the ladies in the north town, but it's generally everyone.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think your previous caller said something that is important to say. Parents don't want to let go of their daughters or their sons.
Thomas, thanks very much. Let's leave it at that. Really appreciate it. Dudu?
She needs therapy. There's a lot of people pleasing on her particular side, probably also coming from a place of guilt, right? So her intentions might be that I am doing the right thing for my family. So sometimes you find people where the family sacrificed everything to send you to school, right? And they feel that this is their way of paying back. Sometimes a person is actually buying a sense of belonging in their particular family. Man. Maybe they were a stepchild or, that. And for them, doing and overdoing for my siblings is me stamping that I do belong in this particular space, right? So what she really needs is that she needs to understand what is the center of her wanting to constantly please her family at the expense of her marriage, right? And I think once she addresses that, because I think what we talk about these things on the surface level, mother's boy and so forth, but there's a root cause to it. And it's an emotional feeling that is attached with it. It's either I feel validated when I do for people, or I feel like I am paying back a debt, even though maybe some people don't even expect you to pay that particular debt. And you have to understand, where does that feeling stem from? So for me, I'd really suggest that she goes for therapy. And I'm asking him to explore what they call imago therapy. A type of therapy that goes deep into your childhood to even know where this sense of people pleasing or guilt started from, and then she can be able to have a sense of awareness. Because until she's not aware of the feeling that's driving the behavior, she'll always feel like his words are criticism more than guidance.
This is very deep, and I'm just wondering, to what extent does this affect you in your relationship? Have you ever left someone, just as one of our callers told us a little bit earlier on, because this person was too attached to their mom? And Tutu is raising a number of critical issues for us to think about right now, and she's saying could be that part of the reasoning for your behavior is that you are paying back a debt. And you're saying, now that I'm living like this, I can't just leave them like that. I am here because of them. And it would be completely amiss of me to enjoy this life without inviting them in. And even if it comes at the demise of this person that I've just met them. Chances are, if they didn't do the preparatory work, I wouldn't even have met this person.
Exactly.
So I'm happy to compromise this, to negotiate this, to faff around this and do whatever I need to do with this. But my priority is that.
Yes.
Is there help for such individuals?
There is. There really is.
The rainbow at the end of the tunnel?
There is. And I've seen it with a couple of my family members, even my own mom. She has an interesting story to tell. But there is help. But it's a sense of awareness. It's, you engage in certain behaviors. You're either not setting boundaries or you're overdoing and so forth and whatever. And what typically happens to those people is that they're never really fully fulfilled because a lot of them get taken advantage of in their particular families, right? But the thing is, they are enablers. And they are enablers because of this deep feeling of inadequacy or whatever it is that they have inside. But once you go for therapy and you're aware, and you make peace with certain things in life, there's a way to give back and still have boundaries. And I think people need to understand that.
You've said it all. There's a way of giving back and still have boundaries.
And still have boundaries, right? There's a way to say thank you without feeling like you are immersed in black tax
without
or whatever.
Crucifying yourself.
Exactly. But there is help. It's just that people don't recognize that I am doing this because of the fact that there is something fundamentally that is unhealthy that is driving this behavior.
Now, Dudu, we have a few minutes remaining. I want to use those productively and throw these difficult questions to you. When do you leave when someone is like that? In a relationship, is there a time or is there a point at which you need to say, I switch off, bye-bye, your mommy's boy, Tabo, you love your mommy too much more than me, or Dudu, you love your dad and it's coming to compromise what we have in our family, is there a point at which I should say, I'm stopping to try, I won't convince you to do any more, I'm just opening the door to say good luck to the guy that you'll meet next time around? And where's that point?
It's the point where you've tried everything to remedy the situation, and you are now becoming a toxic person in response to what the person is doing to you. So if now you are becoming a toxic person where you live in an era where you're always plotting against your partner, or there's revenge, or it actually comes to some sort of abuse, then that's the point where you leave. Because the reason why you are becoming this person is the other person is not taking your views into consideration and is not trying to change. And if now you're no longer the greatest expression of yourself because of another person, then that's not the relationship.
That's so cute. Is there a quantifiable, as far as time is concerned, the amount of time that you can tolerate this behavior for? And I'm asking that because at times we move from one emotion to the other, and you speak to the person and you're thinking, she understands it now. She gets it and she goes back there. But I'm asking the impossible. Don't worry about that. I'm just trying to find out a year, 2 years where you say, but this person doesn't change. 16 years, this person doesn't change. Laura said after 6 years she left, and that's what brings about this question.
Was it quantifiable? So, there's various ways to look at that, right? So there's some school of thought in psychology that says person really shows their true colors after 3 months, right? And if you take that into the context of this conversation, you could say, let's say there's a point in time, we've been in this relationship for a year. Yeah. I've seen this, we've had conversations, we've thought about it and so forth. We have the conversation, you promise to address the issue. And maybe like for the next 3 months and so forth, I'm seeing some kind of changed behavior, but then after 3 months, I realized actually it doesn't change. It was just trying to keep me, and so forth or whatever. Yeah. After 3 months, you have a general idea of to what degree this person took it seriously, right? And I'm just, even though there's not a time period, but I think if you've gotten to the point where you say, this is it, we either we address this now, I start seeing change behavior. And listen, change behavior can go on for like 6 to 7 months. Not necessarily to say after 3 months the person will be perfect. But if you assess after 3 months that this thing hasn't moved, like this person's still not getting it and so forth, I think that's when you start having really, really difficult conversations with yourself.
I want to come back with some questions, but I think I've been dominating the space. Let's allow other people to come through on 072 702 1702, 15 minutes to 12.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tani?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
Back by popular demand, legendary jazz icon Kenny G will be performing at the Super Bowl at Sun City on Friday, the 3rd of October. Get ready for an unforgettable night of timeless hits and pure musical magic. Get your tickets from webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Breakout Events and 702.
Relationship issues?
Relationship Talk.
On 702.
12 minutes to 12 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Let's go straight to the voice notes, Abel. I've been neglecting them for quite some time. They came through on 072 702 1702.
Morning, Tabo. I love your show. Thank you for holding the fort. You are doing an excellent show. Yeah. I'm just like one of the ladies on the voice note that sent right now. My ex-husband's family also was very overbearing. And actually left the marriage because of that. Yeah, they were overbearing, disregard for me as the wife. You know, especially the elder sister controlling everything, telling him what to do, and he listens to them. Never rose to my defense in any way. What the sister says, it is what goes. So yeah, it's really, really sad how these families don't have boundaries. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Tabo. Yeah, I think for me, it's really a psychological issue that in parents, whereby as a parent you are not allowing your child or your son or your daughter to actually grow. You know what I mean? It's a huge psychological problem, and you don't understand the impact that you are leaving on your son or your daughter in terms of being able to stand up for themselves in terms of in the workplace or in the social spaces as well. You know what I mean? So it's very important that the parents themselves get help. You know what I mean? They get help, but it's the most important thing is if you don't agree as a parent that you have this problem, then it's something that you won't see as a need for you to grow up in. You know what I mean?
Hi, Tabo, and your guest there. Now, I wanted to find out, or maybe ask, what would be overdoing it to the extent that one will now be called a mama's boy? Because I got into a situation where I was dating a girl who lost her parents while she was very, very young. So as a result, when my mom or my sisters came over, even when they did very, very little, I think she felt a little bit intimidated, and so and eventually she called me a mama's boy, and so I just wanted to find out, what is too far and what is fair. Shivas in Boxburg.
Fair question, Shivas.
And it's a very fair one. Overdoing it is when now you doing stuff for your family is at the demise of your other family or your relationship, right? Because let's take it in the African context. There's a lot of kids who've been educated by their parents. Parents did everything, to educate their kids. And they want to look after their families, right? The kids. They want to show up for their families and so forth and whatever. But it's not at the expense of their own progression in life. It's not like I can't afford a house because now I'm looking after my siblings and 10 of her kids and all these other things in life, right? So it's healthy when somebody says that I can manage my life and still show up for these people. And these people also understand the fact that there's instances, for example, where I can't physically be there because I need to be physically present for my family, and I'm not made to feel like a bad person. So, but when now you start taking away from the other in order to please the other, and there isn't really a healthy balance, then that's doing too much.
011-883-0702. Let me just go through some text messages that you've sent and that I needed to have read some time ago. Let's go straight to them. This one says, good day, Tawa and guest. I've realized many times some men who are mom's boys were raised by single women because they tend to learn how to emotionally rely on them from an early age. Now, as grown men, they feel indebted to their mom to play husband role. I've dated a mom's boy. It doesn't end well. Thanks, Umpili. Morning, beautiful people. So I'm a gay guy. We will need a show that covers us on the same topic as well. We'll look into that. Thanks for opening our eyes to that as well. Thank you so much. Hi, Tabo. I could almost cry just thinking about this matter. My wife once told me, don't make me choose between you and my family. Hey, Batum. Well, cut the story short. She eventually chose her family and filed for divorce. Whoa! That is big. Hi, Tabo. I went to live with my mother-in-law because I chose to work there because that's where my husband's money went. I had, and I'm opening it some more, I had a time of my life for 1 year. Then he realized what my issue was. Now we're good. How's it, Tabo? Anonymous here. I used to be married to Daddy's girl since 2006 and 2017. She was always comparing me to her perfect little daddy, and that irritated the hell out of me. Aish! And yeah, it ended up in a divorce. It looks like there's one train station where all these trains get to stop. Divorce.
I don't know what my value is in my relationship. I'm not allowed to demonstrate my value. Why would I stay?
You know, some time ago, I used to see someone who did the very same. Yeah. And she didn't realize that even though I didn't open her eyes to this and I was seeing it, I left the relationship completely.
Yeah. And
I left. When she realized, I had already left. When she told me that this is what I've been doing and I'm so sorry, I had already checked out and I couldn't care anymore.
Exactly. And I think it's hard, really.
Yeah.
It really honestly is hard. It's like living in, I'm thinking if I had to live in a house whereby I'm not allowed to mother my child.
Yeah.
Right. It's just difficult. It's unnatural. And I think sometimes, I always tell people there's textbook relationship advice.
Yeah.
And then there's human beings, right? And what drives human behavior is the way we are conditioned and also the way we've learned to adapt to the world, right? And you cannot take someone who's been conditioned for years to say the value that you add in a relationship is that you show up, you lead, or you show up and nurture. And they define themselves in that way. And you want them, based on some simple conversation, to change that. You have to work with that, even if you effect change, but you have taken that into consideration.
Yes.
And what a lot of people miss is that they come in and they say, this is how I think my world should work. Well, that's nice, but you're dealing with a human being, right? And somebody comes with a whole history of conditioning. And I think these are the things we need to think about, to say, as much as I value my family or my family gives me psychological safety, the person that you're with is expecting to give you psychological safety. And you're taking that away from them.
We have to go to how do people reach you?
I'm in the peaceful one on social media.
The peaceful one.
Yes.
That's how we found you.
Yes.
The peaceful one, relationship coach, Dutu Ntlabati Madonsela. Thank you so much. It was amazing. 4 minutes to 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
An 81-year-old doctor from Free State has admitted to putting a man in a shallow grave who were coming to, according to him, attack his farm. He claims that he buried that man because that man's body would have been eaten by the jackal. Not too long ago, we were dealing with a story of a farmer and his accomplices killing 2 black women and feeding them to the pigs. Things have been happening in the farm. And I hope that people like Donald Trump and his friends here in South Africa are watching these stories unfold.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org by 30 September.
Tap into the power of 40 Winks. Visit Dial-A-Bed today and save up to 30% on our best-selling brand. Our 40 Winks Sleep Tribe Pro Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $7,999, and our 40 Winks Active Zone Extra Firm Comfort Queen Set is now only $11,999. Plus, get next-day delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Coming up
On the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Between 12 and 1. She's right in front of me to tell us what's the latest. Happy Friday, Mandy.
Happy Friday, Tabo.
You're good. What's coming up on the show?
I'm good. So we're going to start off by looking at the impact of the taxi strike in Durban.
Yeah.
We spoke about that yesterday as well. There's just been another court shooting in Cape Town at the Athlone Magistrates Court. This happens so frequently where either a witness or somebody or a gang member gets killed. Really problematic. A new survey tells us that 8 in 10 South Africans feel the country is moving in the wrong direction.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we'll speak to Ipsos about that. And then listen to this stat. This is terrifying. 117 girls between the ages of 10 and 14 fell pregnant in the Eastern Cape in just 3 months.
Goodness me.
That's an unbelievable statistic. Really, really worrying. And then